Game 2 of our doubleheader begins very shortly. Welcome everybody back to the MLB Urban Youth Academy in Compton, California. Happy to be along for the ride with you along with Jordan Brenner. My name is Jonathan Rifkin. The Oaks took game number 1 of the day by a score of 6-5 in a fairly high-intensity, low-scoring game. Both teams hit into double digits. Both teams left 9 runners on base. And right now, both teams looking for a win. The Oaks have won 8 in a row now, including 7 in the CCL. They're going to look to push that to 9 and try to solidify the number 3 spot in the CCL. Right now, though, both teams waiting. First pitch has been pushed back. It was originally at 2:35 and then 2:45, which is the current time. And right now, though, the umpires have yet to come out, which means we're probably about another 5 minutes away from first pitch. But that means more time to talk about today's game, number 2 between the Oaks and the Barons. The Oaks coming into this game now at 15-10 overall, 10-8 in the CCL. The Barons at 8-18, 8-16 in the CCL. They really fought the Oaks hard last game. The Oaks did put up 14 hits and got the bulk of their runs early in the ball game. They scored for 3 in the third inning, 3 in the first inning, which was half of their game, or half of their runs. How do they make sure that they take the lead and keep it comfortable in this game? Because with an order difference on both sides, though the Oaks order looks more similar than the Barons order here in the second game, the Barons have had the Oaks number for most of the season series.
Well, I think the Oaks looked a little bit fatigued late in the last ball game. Their quality of at-bats deteriorated as the game progressed, so I think it's important to give great at-bats for all 9 innings this game. Look, it's clear to me, and I think it's clear to most people, that the Oaks have more natural ability than this Academy Barons team. But I'll tell you what, the Barons fight hard. They're filled with players with a lot of heart, and they're not scared of anybody. So I kind of view this a little bit as like a trap game. You talk about those in college football and the NFL where you anticipate a game where a team is going to struggle, and I think that's this game is one of those for the Oaks. They've finished 3 ball games in the last 2 days. They just finished out a really tough, brutal game, 1 today. I think they're going to need to come out firing on all cylinders if they want to escape here with a doubleheader sweep.
The doubleheader sweep is something the Oaks are really looking forward to. Right now, have a 1-game advantage, 3-2 in the season series against the Barons. This game will mark the final game between these two teams. We're going to take a very short break. I promise you this time it'll actually be very short. When we come back, we're going to give you starting lineups and first pitch. You're watching Oaks Baseball, game number 2 after this on the Oaks Baseball Broadcasting Network. Back here at the MLB Urban Youth Academy, we just got word that the game is pushed us to around 3 o'clock. After the conclusion of the first game, the umpires turned to us and told us that 2:35 would be the start time. The umpiring crew finally making their way back onto the field. Half the Barons team isn't back on the field yet. It was supposed to be a 2:45 change, but nope. We still got 10 more minutes before Game 2 of today takes place. You know what, Jordan? Let's talk about the CCL a little bit. Not just this Oaks and Barons team, but a lot is going on around the CCL. Because the Oaks won and are 10-8, depending on what happens with the Healdsburg Prune Packers currently trailing by 1 to the Arroyo Seco Saints, if they drop that game and the Oaks win this game, they will be a full game up over the Prune Packers for the number 3 spot in the playoffs. That's a big deal.
It is a big deal, and we've seen all of these teams so far this year. So we've been through quite a journey. Here's my assessment. The Foresters, they're clearly the number 1 team. Beyond that, I think the Oaks could be up for grabs for that 2 spot in the CCL playoffs. Look, the Orange County Riptide, they're a really good team. The Healdsburg Prune Packers, though they're struggling now, they were very, very tough at home in Northern California. And then I think it's this Oaks team in the 4 spot now with a lot to prove. The Oaks are hot. They have as good an offense as anybody in the CCL. And if the pitching holds up, I think they can give the Foresters a run for their money.
Currently, the Blues and the Riptide are playing. The Riptide lead the Slow Blues 6-2 in the bottom of the 6th inning. We're going to keep you posted on that game because, again, if the Packers lose, the Oaks win this second game today, and the Riptide lose, the Oaks will be in sole possession of second place in the CCL. You're talking about a team that was in 6th place just a week ago, all of a sudden contending at the top spots in the playoff hunt. It is very important, this game number 2 for the Oaks. For the Barons, too, if the Barons lose this second game, that'll put them 6 full games back of the 4th and final playoff spot. And with only 12 games left in the season, they would have to make up the difference with half of their games. And depending on what goes on with the rest of the CCL, this second game of today, if the Barons lose, could, for all intents and purposes, eliminate them from the playoff hunt. They're not going to want to do that. And a win today would keep them in the conversation. The Oaks, though, are very hungry. I was talking to some of the guys in the dugout here about 10 minutes ago, and I said, what's going on? What's been the key to this success? And Brandon Lewis, who's a man of very few words, looked at me and said, we're just having fun, and shrugged his shoulders. And I think that that's indicative of the play that they've been showing throughout the last week and a half through this 8-game win streak.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The guys look loose during warm-ups. They're having fun during the games, and it's providing for a great experience out of the game of baseball. When you're winning, not much else can go wrong. Now, Jonathan, I actually have a question for you, because the next time that some of the Oaks will be here at MLB Urban Youth Academy will be for the CCL All-Star Game, which is effectively a prospect game with the most MLB-ready players in the league. What Conejo Oaks do we expect to see present in that game?
Brandon Lewis, Jordan McFarland, Chase Cockrell, Elijah Alexander, Dylan Francis, Justin Friedman, Angus Denton. I mean, you're talking about this team composed of all-stars.
Right.
And all of these guys, I believe, and maybe even Drew Sims.
Right. That's the other name I was going to add. This team is really star-studded from top to bottom, and there are actually not too many big personalities on this team that get in the way of a team's chemistry. You often see that with a lot of star-studded teams. All the stars want all the attention. Well, this Oaks team doesn't operate like that. Brandon Lewis, Chase Cockrell, two of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. They're not too arrogant despite their fantastic abilities, and I think that works to this Oaks' advantage.
The final Oak that I would say should get a look, but due to the amount of Oaks that may be selected to the prospect game, he may miss out as Bart West. Bart West has been very good for the team, but I think he needs to play a full year at USC before he gets looks at for Major League Baseball consideration. He has the ability, he has the ceiling, and he has the body. He just needs to prove himself not only over the summer, but for USC. He was out for most of the season due to an injury this past year. He ended up playing 3 games, but he said he's ineligible to appeal to try to get that year back. So he only has 3 years of eligibility, but this summer, kicking off what will be a promising young career for Mr. West. If he doesn't make the prospect game this year, and again, I don't think he will, if he rejoins the CCL next year, you can expect for him to, if he puts up big numbers for the Trojans. Well, we're going to wrap up our CCL talk, but a couple moments ago, you saw Kenny Landreau, the head coach for the Barons, and the Oaks bench coach Joey Garcia out there with our home plate umpires exchanging lineups. So it's time for us to give you the starting lineup here. First, for the visiting Conejo Oaks, we'll give you their batting order and the field for the Academy Barons. And then in the bottom of the first inning, we'll give you the Academy Barons and the Conejo Oaks field. Batting first for the Oaks and playing second base from Cal Lutheran University is Tanner Wright. Brandon Lewis is in the second spot. Out at third base from UC Irvine, Jordan McFarland, the Arkansas Razorback. Playing first base is batting in the 3 spot. Cleaning up for the Oaks and DHing from Ole Miss, Chase Cockrell. Elijah Alexander bats behind him out of center field from the University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley. Andrew Lucas is in the 6th spot, out in right field, headed to CSUN in the fall after completing 4 strong years at Camarillo High School in terms of baseball progress. Behind him, Bryce Vitt, committed to Sonoma State in the fall, is catching and batting 7th. Michael Tillman in the 8th spot, committed to Cal State LA out in left field. And to round out the Oaks order, Cal State Bakersfield playing shortstop, Will Pickett on the mound for the Oaks will be Aiden Dull, and we'll give you more on him when he comes up to pitch for the Oaks in the bottom frame of the first. But the Academy Barons field looks as follows. Out in right field, Roosevelt Barnes from Morehouse College. In center field from West LA Valley College, Desmond Gates. And Cameron Dean, the Rockhurst College product, is in left. Hunter Lewis from Indiana State's at first. Bruce Martin from Stetson's at second. Daniel Harris getting his first look against the Conejo Oaks this season in the 6th and final game between these two teams from Eastern Kentucky is playing short. Trevor Matson over at third base from Arcadia University in Pennsylvania. Behind the dish, Garrett Alouette from Cal State San Bernardino. And on the mound from Clark Atlanta University, Anthony Nettles. As both these teams take their final tosses, we're going to take our final break of this pregame show. Game number 2 of the day coming your way. First pitch after this on the Oaks Baseball Broadcasting Network. Do not go anywhere. Back here, finally. Game number 2 of the day. 30 minutes after we were promised the game would start. Finally about to get underway. On the mound, Anthony Nettles from Clark Atlanta University. Facing off against Tanner Wright, who went 1 for 4 in game number 1 today when the Oaks won 6-5. First pitch is low, ball 1. 3:02 is our start time. 91 degrees, overcast and wind. Lightly breezing out to left center field. Wright average up to 317. Going 1 for 4 last game. Spears that one into right center field and it drops. He may try to leg this one out, goes around first, tries to beat it out, is out in right field. Barnes has trouble with it, and sliding safely into second base is Tanner Wright. A single and an advancement on the error by Roosevelt Barnes. The Oaks doing what they've done best so far throughout the month of July, getting base runners on early in ball games. Runner in scoring position, Brandon Lewis stepping in.
And in the second inning of the first game today, Tanner Wright tried to get a hustle double and was thrown out at second base. So interesting to see that he's still aggressive, and this time it pans out for him.
Brandon Lewis about to come in here. We have an update for you on the CCL standings, but we'll give it to you after Brandon Lewis is at bat. Nellis checks the speedy Tanner Wright. Lewis catches a curveball. No doubt about that one. Goodbye. See you later. The second home run of the day, the first of the ball game for Mr. Brandon Lewis. He has 5 on the season now to lead the Oaks, and they take a 2-0 lead here early in the first inning.
Wow, what a majestic shot from Brandon Lewis. My goodness, off the bat. No doubter out to left field. No words. He is simply in the zone.
Give him 3 home runs in 2 days. Brandon Lewis, you keep on doing what you're doing, young man, and you are certainly going to make a name for yourself if you haven't started already. 2-0 the score. Jordan McFarland now stepping in. The Arkansas Razorback went 3 for 5 last game. Takes a pitch up and in for ball 1. On the season for Nettles, he leads the team with 20 innings pitched coming into this game. 1-1 record. 19 strikeouts, 7 walks, and an 8.1 ERA. Strike, though, evens the count here to McFarland, 1-1. Coming into the second game of this doubleheader with all stats updated, courtesy of our statistician extraordinaire, Jacob Placas. That one's up the middle in the center field, and Jordan McFarland is on here for the Oaks. Prior to that at-bat, with the first game in the books, he's batting .389. That's going to go up. And you talk about 3 Oaks batters up in the high 380s to low 400s. Brandon Lewis, Jordan McFarland, and Chase Cockrell, who's batting .417 and stepping in here.
The Oaks had 3 consecutive hits in the first inning of last game, and they repeated that right here. Maybe it'll lead to another win.
No outs, 2 around, 1 on. Cockrell stepping in. The first offering. A strike on the outside corner. Cockrell's taking all the way. In the earlier game, Chase Cockrell went 1 for 4, a single, a run scored. He reached on an error in the 4th. 2 pop-outs, though. He did walk in the 8th, but was pinch run for by Michael Tillman. Nettles toting the rubber. He offers. Big swing and a miss, strike 2. A home run swing right there from Cockrell, but he missed it. I hope everybody's enjoying their Sunday afternoon. It's been a long day of baseball. The first game was 2 hours and 59 minutes after a 45-minute hiatus as McFarland jumps back to first base safely on the pickoff attempt. We're back to baseball. By the way, that update that I alluded to during Brandon Lewis's at-bat that I was so rudely interrupted by his home run as that pitch is upstairs. 1-2 the count to Cockrell. The Healdsburg Prune Packers just walked off against Arroyo Seco Saints in the bottom of the 9th inning. Clay Colzer from Davidson College hit a solo shot to walk off for the Packers. So here's how the standings look right now as Cockrell swings and misses. Strike 3 on the 4th pitch of that bat. Out number 1 up now on the board here in the top of the 1st. Nettles' first strikeout of the game. Runner on first now. Right now the Foresters are in first place and they're going to remain in first place. But here's the switch. The Packers are 10-7. The Riptide, who are currently up over the Slow Blues, are 10-7. And the Oaks are 10-8. Currently a full game back of the Packers. Check that, actually a half game back of the Packers. If the Oaks win this game, they'll be tied with the Prune Packers for the 3rd spot in the CCL. If the Riptide win, they'll only be a half game up over the Packers and the Oaks in the 2nd spot. If the Riptide lose, we'll have a 3-way tie for 2nd place in the CCL. Bunt down by Alexander, but it rolls foul, strike 1. So that would be an interesting turn. The Blues are losing 6-2 right now into the 7th inning against the Riptide. And if the Riptide lose, 3-way tie for 2nd place. The Oaks, if they win today, that would be a 5-game swing since Friday because they played 2 games yesterday, or they completed 2 games yesterday, 1 full game and 1 game that was suspended due to darkness earlier in the season. They won 13-4 on Friday and won earlier today, 6-5. Alexander digs back in. The 0-1. Taken, up and away, evens the count. The playoff race really heating up. Elijah Alexander batting .266 on the season. 4 for 6 in stolen bases, though, as a pickoff attempt. Nothing doing there for Jordan McFarland. He does have very good speed out there at first base as that ball goes awry, but he's still back safely. For a big guy, Jordan, I know you're very big on how explosive he is for his size.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've never seen... Well, I'm going to take that back. I'm just very high on his speed. He can really move.
Strike there to Alexander. Couldn't get the bunt down. He's behind in the count, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Andrew Lucas waiting on deck. Soon to be CSUN product, was the Ventura County High School Player of the Year, and actually played with Elijah Alexander when Elijah was a senior and Lucas was a freshman. McFarland diving back on the pickoff attempt successfully. Elijah Alexander batted over 400 at Ventura County College, junior college, I should say, back a couple of years ago, and just batted .284 for UTRGV this past season. 1-2, runs up and away, evens the count. You talk about a team with a lot of talent. If this 8-game winning streak and 7-game CCL winning streak hasn't proven to you that this team is one contending for a championship in the CCL, then I'm not exactly sure what would. Nettles rocks and fires. No, first a pickoff attempt quickly, though. McFarland finds a way back to first base. The crowd, which was filled in nicely here at the Academy for game number 2, was not happy with that safe call. McFarland taking a half-step lead off of first. He wants absolutely no chance of getting picked off. With 1 out, a hit-and-run situation could be on, though the 2-2 pitch is cracked foul, and we'll do it again for Alexander. Double play is what the middle infield wants. Daniel Harris and Bruce Martin at short and second, respectively, playing in double play depth. McFarland, once again, takes a very short lead off of first. Nettles has been very close to picking him off already 3 times in this at-bat. Alexander stepping back in, faces a 2-2 count. Nettles deals upstairs, ball 3. And Alexander has worked his way back from a 1-2 count to a 3-2 count. 2 runs, 3 hits, and an error in the inning for the Oaks. Only 1 out up on the board. Tanner Wright, Brandon Lewis, and Jordan McFarland all hit safely. Lewis, though, cleared the bases with a 2-run homer. McFarland reached first thereafter on a single. Chase Cockrell struck out for the first out of the game.
Seems to me Nettles is a little bit too fixated on the runner on first base.
Payoff pitch, runner goes outside, ball 4, and I think you're right. He was so worried about the dancing McFarland off the first base bag. I think it got into his head a little bit, and after being ahead in the count 1-2, there was a couple of errant pitches, and Elijah Alexander on first base, some speed, and look for that hit and run here with Andrew Lucas stepping in.
And it's not even that McFarland was taking too big of a lead or dancing. It just seemed Nettles thought he could get him, and that's why he threw over so many times.
Lucas batting .273 on the season, has a pair of home runs, including a grand slam, Takes the first pitch low and away for ball 1. Does have 12 runs scored, which is good for 3rd on the team. Has struck out 20 times, which is also 3rd on the team, tied with Tyler Ryan. Nettles toes the rubber and checks McFarland at second. That pitch, a big swing and a miss. Evens the count, 1-1. McFarland taking more of a generous lead off of second base, but I think he's obviously not as worried about getting picked off. Elijah Alexander not even being held at first, very wisely by Hunter Lewis, because he knows that he may be needed off the bag if that ball is hit to the opposite side. Nettles offers. Swing and miss by Lucas. He is behind in the count, 1-2.
Got to stay in here. Lucas does, and work the count just like Alexander did.
Some speed on the base paths for the Oaks. They want to utilize it if they can. Andrew Lucas trying to stay in this count. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Nettles offers up and in. And much like Elijah Alexander's at bat, count is tied now, or even at 2-2. Top of the first inning. In game number 2, the back end of a doubleheader here at the MLB Urban Youth Academy. Nettles offers the 2-2. Called strike 3 on the outside corner. Garrett Alouette, the catcher, thought that the inning was over, at least the top half, but there's actually only 2 outs. That ball that he threw back to the pitcher was actually technically a live ball, and Nettles quickly and very heads-up wise recovered it to make sure the Oaks runner stayed at bay. 2 outs now, both by way of a strikeout, 1 swinging, 1 looking. Cockrell and Lucas, the catalyst of those strikeouts. But runners still at first and second. McFarland at second, Alexander at first, and Bryce Vitt coming into bat.
Bryce Vitt has sneaky pop, and if he can sneak one into the gap, that would be enormous early in this ball game.
First pitch to him is up and out. Ball 1. Vitt came in place of Zach Kamiko and had 1 at bat where he flew out to center. Batting at 167, but I don't think that tells the whole story. He's gotten hits in very key situations this season for the team. 1-0, also upstairs. 2 fastballs, 2 balls here to Vitt.
And also, Jonathan, it's hard to maintain your batting average when you're getting at bats on such an inconsistent basis.
2 balls, no strikes to Bryce Vitt, committed to Sonoma State by way of L.A. Pierce Junior College last week. Takes a pitch in the dirt, a little bit of overcompensation by Nettles. Puts Vitt very well ahead in the count, 3 balls and no strikes. If he can walk the bases loaded, Michael Tillman will have a great situation in his at-bat waiting on deck.
And we all know what Michael Tillman does in clutch situations.
He makes contact into no man's land and tends to score runs because of it. 3-0 pitch taken on the outside corner for strike 1. Vitt wasn't sure if it was a ball or a strike, but our home plate umpire, who established that lower outside part of the zone in the first game. Continuing that consistency here. Nettles toes the rubber, 3-1 in. Low ball 4. Vitt walks on 5 pitches. The second walk in the inning given up by Nettles, and that loads up the bases for the Oaks, and Michael Tillman stepping in.
Now batting the left fielder.
Tillman has tended to pop out a little bit too frequently recently, but in big spots with runners in scoring position, he's as good as anybody on this team. Loves the big stage. And he's on one right now.
I have an update for you on the Riptide game here in a moment as Michael Tillman steps in. Came in place of Chase Cockrell in left field in the last game. First pitch to him is low for ball 1. No, called a strike. A great placement by Alouette. I think saved that for Nettles for strike 1.
Yeah, it was a great pitch frame.
Definitely low, but doing it like some of the best in the majors. Garrett Alouette giving his pitcher some assurance with the frame. 0-1. Popped up, out of play, 0-2. 7-5 the score. The Slow Blues have been able to muster around a couple of runs against the Riptide in the bottom of the 7th. So remember, if the Riptide lose and the Oaks win this game, there will be a 3-way tie for second place with the Oaks, the Prune Packers, and the Riptide. Riptide hang on. They'll be a half game up over the Oaks and the Packers for that second spot. 0-2 offering to Tillman. This one called a ball low. 1 ball and 2 strikes now. Also an L.A. Pierce Junior College product, though this time he's headed to Cal State L.A., actually just down the road from where we are in Compton. Led the team, L.A. Pierce Junior College, that is, in batting practice this past season, or batting average this past season. I'm sure also in batting practice because it translated to his average in actual play. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Here comes the offering. Crack down to short, a 2-hopper to Harris. Gathers himself over to first, beats Tillman by a step. And after the Oaks knock in a couple of runs by way of the 2-run homer by Brandon Lewis, they leave the bases loaded. 2 runs, 3 hits, an error, and the bases left juiced. We're through half an inning here. The home half of the first due up for the Barons. We'll be right back with their starting lineup and the Oaks field on the Oaks Baseball Broadcasting Network. Barons lineup here as Desmond Gates leads things off on their side, trailing 2-0. Give you who bats after him here after Aiden Dolan deals the first pitch for a ball low and away. Desmond Gates, Daniel Harris, and Hunter Lewis the first 3 up. Garrett Owlett in the cleanup spot. Trevor Matton in the 5th spot. Christian Lucio in the 6th spot. That pitch cracked over to second. Tanner Wright charging it, underhanding it, and getting the out. 4-3 for out number 1 here in the first inning on the Barons half. To finish out the order, in the 6th spot, Christian Lucio. In the 7th spot, Cameron Dean, in the 8th spot, Bruce Martin. And the final 9th batter for the Barons will be Roosevelt Barnes. Aiden Dolan on the mound for the Oaks so far this season. 5th start of the season and now 5 appearances. At the first pitch is skied to center field by Daniel Harris, and he dropped for a single. Elijah Alexander couldn't get to that one, and the Eastern Kentucky product in his first at-bat of the season against the Oaks. Singles with 1 out. But going back to Aiden Dolan, this is his 5th start in his 5th appearance. He has a 2.08 ERA, 13 strikeouts, 4 walks in 13 innings pitched.
And his last start was his best one. 5 innings, 2 hits, a run, and 8 strikeouts.
Wow. He had a really good start. But right here, brand new ball game. Trying to stifle this Barons offense. First pitch to Hunter Lewis is low for ball 1. Lewis earlier today playing first base, but he was the DH in the first game in the 6th spot. Went 0 for 4 with a hat trick of strikeouts. He also popped out to first base in his only other non-strikeout at-bat. Dolan comes set, offers, cracked over to third, but foul. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Oaks got 2 runs on 3 hits in the first inning. All 3 hits came by way of the first 3 batters. They did get 2 other base runners by way of a walk, but they left the bases loaded. Here, Harris at first. Hunter Lewis with a 1-1 count. Dahlin with perhaps the best hair in the CCL comes set. Offers the 1-1. Runner goes. The curveball called to strike. The throw from Vitt is not in time. And Daniel Harris showing off the wheels right there. Steals a base successfully. The Barons had 6 successful stolen bases against the Oaks in the first game. If the Oaks want to try and hold on to this lead, they have to limit the damage done on the base paths by the Barons. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The curveball was in there for Aiden Dahlin. As there's a conversation between Bryce Vitt and Dahlin. Runner in scoring position, only 1 out. The Oaks trying to continue this hot win streak. They go by the slogan right now, the Oaks are hot. And that has been indicative of the play as of late. They have yet to lose in the month of July. Dahlin deals the 1-2. Sliced foul, though, into the Barons' dugout, and the count remained the same.
Cruisin' Caneo. What do you think about that one, Jonathan?
I like it. I think I'm going to try to think of another one, though. You're a lot better with alliteration, though, than I am, or the syntactic language, or what have you.
Alliterations work.
Yeah.
Thank you, though.
Of course. I just make a lot of dad jokes. Under Lewis, back in the right-hand batter's box. Dahlin checking at the dancing Harris, and he steps off. Harris over at second has been messing around out there on the base paths, going between a 2-step lead and a 4-step lead, trying to keep Dahlin off balance. And Aiden Dahlin's hat is actually too big for his head. If you look at, we'll try to get a zoomed-in picture of it later in the game. The back of his hat is actually tucked upwards because the Oaks ran of hats his size. Curveball misses low and away to even the count 2-2. It's kind of a funny sight, but I don't think it's impeded his pitching at all. And you would think that with the incredible flow he possesses, that hat wouldn't be too big, but that's not the case. Checks the runner at second. Harris dancing off of second. 2-2 in the dirt. Runner goes. The throw should be in time. Indeed it is. Harris tested the arm of Vitt, and Vitt won that battle. Harris now 1 for 2 on the day in stolen bases. That eliminates the runner on the base paths. An opportunity for the Barons that could have been a potential run in the inning. The Oaks can sit a little bit more comfortable, but still a 2-2 count. Excuse me, a 3-2 count now to Hunter Lewis. Two away. Oaks up 2-0. And Dahlin offers the payoff pitch. Swung and missed. Strike 3. Lewis goes down swinging. Strikeout number 1 on the game for Dahlin. And the first inning is in the books. No runs on 1 hit, no errors, and no runners left on base. To the second inning we go. The Oaks have Pickett, Wright, and Lewis do up the 9-1-2 batters. When we come back, they're up 2-0 on the Oaks Baseball Broadcasting Network. Back here in the top of the second inning. He's Jordan Brenner. My name is Jonathan Rifkin. Delighted to be with you on a beautiful Sunday afternoon in Compton, California. Game number 2 of this doubleheader. In full swing, the Oaks up 2-0 with Will Picketts. Cal State Bakersfield, by way of L.A. Pierce Junior College, digging in for the first at-bat of the second inning. First pitch by Anthony Nettles, bounces in the dirt. Ball 1. Picketts didn't play in the game earlier today, but he had 2 hits yesterday against the Catch, including a wonderful dead fish bunt down the third base line that he so gracefully beat out. Nettles offers the 1-0, outside, ball 2. But on the season for Picketts, in his second year with the team, batting 150, slowly but surely working that batting average up, trying to get over the Mendoza line. 9 strikeouts, 8 walks. He's been hit by 4 pitches. He also has 8 RBIs and 8 runs. Talk about consistency across his stat line. Swings and misses on that one, though, 2-1. His father, Bill Picketts, the head coach at Pierce Junior College, in the crowd today, as he so often is at Conejo Oaks games. And he was actually the Oaks' inaugural head coach back in 2006 when this team was created by Mike Sosha. 2-1, sky to right field. Roosevelt Barnes digging backwards, makes the catch for out number 1. Fly out to right field. Puts out number 1 up on the board, and we go back to the top of the order for Tanner Wright. Cal Lutheran Kingsman, who's 1 for 1 today, singled, advanced to second on an error by Roosevelt Barnes in right field. And then ended up scoring on the Brandon Lewis 2-run homer. Skies the first pitch foul for strike 1. Talk about a consistent batter. He's only struck out 5 times in 71 plate appearances. Not only does that ratio lead the team, it leads the league. And talk about a guy who can put bat to ball. Tanner Wright amongst the best. Nettles, 0-1 offering, bounces in the dirt, evens the count here to Tanner Wright. Joined Cal Lutheran by way of Las Vegas, Nevada, where he played at Centennial High School. Brings a lot of spirit to this team. Not the most vocal guy, but very positive attitude, and he plays, or he talks through his play, I guess you could say, as that one misses low, 2-1. And you look at a guy like Tanner Wright, not the biggest guy, not the loudest guy, not someone you necessarily think would be such a contributor, but he has proven time and time again to be one of the best Conejo Oaks. Nettles offers the 2-1. Slapped over to third. Fielded by Matson. Over to first and beats right by a step for out number 2. 5-3 put out for those keeping score at home. Puts 2 outs up on the board. The Oaks only were retired 1-2-3 one time in the early game. That was in the 9th inning when they struck out, flew out, and grounded out. But through the first 8 frames, they found a way to get on board, whether it be by a walk, hit, or error. But with 2 outs and Brandon Lewis stepping in, they could be retired 1-2-3 here. Nettles certainly working to do that. First pitch to Lewis bounces in the dirt for ball 1. And, of course, back in the first inning, Brandon Lewis hit that 2-run homer to break the tie 0-0 to 2-0 in favor of the Oaks. He now has 3 home runs in 2 days, and he'll look to go deep again. Nettles offers. Fouled off. Evens the count, 1 ball and 1 strike. To the future Irvine Anteater. Also went to Pierce Junior College, but went to high school at Crespi, out in the area where he was a phenom. Was originally committed to CSUN, decommitted, and Irvine picked him up very wisely if you're an Anteater fan. Pitch bounces in the dirt. Lewis working ahead 2-1, and we'll talk about a guy who was going to make an impact at the collegiate level. Brandon Lewis is going to be that guy. Nettles working with a 2-1 count. Peers and fires. Slice in the left center field. That drops and goes to the wall for extra bases. Rounding first, going to second is Lewis. He's digging, and he stops as that ball comes in quickly from Cameron Dean out and left. Brandon Lewis, a home run and a double. The first game, he was a triple shy of the cycle, and he's on his way to recreating the magic he put up there with Jordan McFarland stepping in.
Jordan McFarland.
Every time Brandon Lewis steps on a baseball field, he's on Psycho Watch, it seems.
His only out in the first game was a flyout to right field. Jordan McFarland, who's 1 for 1 with a single, was stranded on third back in the first inning, digging in now. Runner in scoring position, 2 away. Fastball upstairs, ball 1. Brandon Lewis with a 2-out base knock, something that we have not been unaccustomed to seeing. This Oaks team has worked very well with 2 outs for the better half of the win streak. McFarland takes a low fastball, 2-0 now to him. McFarland batted .296 as the first guy off the bench for the University of Arkansas, and look for him to be in a more consistent role this upcoming season with the Razorbacks. Had 1 day off in between the College World Series where he participated and joining the Conejo Oaks team. Fastball upstairs puts him now 3-0 in the count. Nettles struggling, already 2 walks in the game, 2 strikeouts, 2 runs, and 4 hits given up. Brandon Lewis has half of those hits. The first a pickoff attempt, Lewis sliding back safely. 3-0 the count remains. Feel free to tweet at us at Conejo_Oaks. He's at Jordan Brenner 31. I'm at Johnny Riff on Twitter, or chat with us in the YouTube live chat, friend or foe. No matter who you are, we always love listening or hearing from our fans. A 3-0 pitch over the head in left field of Cameron Dean. Brandon Lewis will stride home. McFarland digging for second as the throw comes in. And the Oaks go back-to-back 2-out doubles. Jordan McFarland is 2 for 2. And the Oaks take a 3-0 lead as Brandon Lewis crossed home plate.
I was starting to wonder whether Jordan McFarland had doubles, triples, and home run power. Well, he just proved me wrong right there. He'd hit countless base hits the past 2 days, but right there checking in with a double. And we all know he has power in the tank. What a great 2-out hit it was.
Jordan McFarland went 3 for 5 in the earlier game with 3 singles. He also went 3 for 5 yesterday against the SoCal Catch with 3 singles. And on Friday, he had 2 singles. So finally breaking the single streak and getting a double out of it. Chase Cockrell now digging in. The first strikeout victim of the 2 for Nettles. Pops the first pitch back out of play for strike 1. The Oaks have 3 runs on 5 hits, no errors. No runs, a hit, and an error for the Barons. Barons struck a few times in the earlier game to really put the pressure on the Oaks, but the Oaks were able to hold on and win 6-5. That pitch bounces in the dirt. Cockrell has a 1-1 count now. We're at the top of the second inning. The Barons trying to stifle the Oaks offense that has not hit less than 10 hits throughout this 7-game CCL win streak, I should say. Cockrell takes a strike on the outside corner. 1 ball, 2 strikes now to him. And this was a team that in the month of June was really struggling offensively. They picked it up in the last week, their last loss June 27th, but this month of July has shown a brand new Conejo Oaks baseball team. 1-2 from Nettles. Slapped over to short into the moving glove of Harris. Fires it over to Lewis at first, and finally the top frame of the second has concluded. 1 run, 2 hits, no errors. McFarland stranded on second base. We're through 1.5 from the MLB Urban Youth Academy in Compton, California. The Oaks lead the Barons 3-0 on the Oaks Baseball Broadcasting Network. Back here at the MLB Urban Youth Academy on a lovely Sunday afternoon. I hope everybody's enjoying the game as much as we are, no matter how you're watching or where you're watching. We appreciate you making Jordan and myself a part of your Sunday plans. That is Oaks baseball rather than Jordan and myself, but we're happy to also be a part of your Sunday plans. Garrett Owlett lead things off here for the Barons in the cleanup spot, trailing 3-0 after the Oaks put up a run in the second. Aiden Dolan back on the mound. Owlett shows bunt, pulled it back. They're saying, though, he pulled back in time, and that's ball one.
It's a questionable call. I thought Owlett definitely went right there.
I certainly agree with you, and we're getting nods from our statistician counterparts here in the press box, but nonetheless, the umpire's word is the final word. Want to know the count. Dolan toning the rubber, whips in the 1-0 pitch. Called a strike on the lower half of the plate, so I guess that one can make up for the ball call, because that one could have easily been called a strike as well. Or, excuse me, a ball as well. 1-1 here to Garrett Owlett, batting .355 on the season, which is first on the team. Dolan offers the 1-1, bounces in the dirt, 2-1 the count. The CCL is composed of some incredible coaches, with the exception of head coach Bill Pintard of the Foresters and perhaps Coach Gomes up in Healdsburg. None more high profile than the Barons head coach Kenny Landreau, as that one was taken on the inside corner, evening the count 2-2. Now in his 8th season with the Barons, manager Kenny Landreau led the Barons to actually their best record back in 2016. Another pitch in the dirt, full count now to Garrett Owlett. In that 2016 campaign, the Barons won the CCL in the regular season with a 29-11 record, but they were actually bounced out of the playoffs in the first round by the Conejo Oaks. That was pretty incredible. Payoff pitch here from Dolan. Cracked over to first, but foul. We'll do it again. But Landreau, actually a Compton native, grew up here in the area. Back in 1973, was drafted out of high school by the Houston Astros in the 8th round, but opted to attend Arizona State in the fall instead. At ASU, he played in 2 College World Series. After 3 seasons at ASU, he made himself eligible once again for the draft, and he was the 6th overall pick by the California Angels. Owlett once again fouls off another one. After being drafted 6th overall in 1976, he went on to become the minor league player of the year in 1977. He spent 2 seasons with the Angels in the big leagues and then was traded to the Minnesota Twins in 1979, where actually he put up an impressive career with the Twins. But first, the payoff pitch once again from Dolan. Missing inside, the curveball couldn't catch the strike zone, and Owlett draws a walk here, the first of the ball game for the Barons. Runner on first, nobody out. After being traded in 1979 to the Minnesota Twins, Coach Landreau in 1980 went on a 31 consecutive game hit streak, a feat that is still the longest hitting streak in Twins history. And in that 1980 season, he earned a spot on the All-Star team. Swing and a miss here from Trevor Matson for strike one. After that 1980 season, which he was an All-Star, he was actually traded to the LA Dodgers. In 1981, as the center fielder for the Dodgers, that team went to the World Series, and Coach Landreau caught the final out of the 1981 World Series to give the Los Angeles Dodgers the World Series win. Matson pops one up behind home plate. Vitt, blocking the sun, makes the catch for out number one. Owlett stays put at first base. After Landreau won the World Series, making the final out in 1981, finished out his career 3 more years with the Dodgers, called it quits. His career line, 268 batting average, 91 home runs, and 479 RBI, excuse me. You talk about a guy who was an all-star, still holds most consecutive games hit safely in the Minnesota Twins organization as Christian Lucio steps in, and also has a World Series ring. First pitch, ball inside. Pretty incredible stuff from Coach Landreau, and you can bet this Barons team understands how fortunate they are to have such an incredible guy with an amazing history at the helm of their team. VCO DHing in the earlier game. He was playing third base. Pops one foul to even the count. However, in the earlier game, he ended up going 1 for 3, a strikeout, a single, a walk, and a ground out, but he did steal 2 bases in the earlier game. One out, one on. 1-1 count here to Lucio. The second Eastern Kentucky product in the lineup. We saw Daniel Harris back in the first. Got the lone hit so far of the ballgame for the Barons, but he was stranded at third. Time called after Dolan was in the stretch. That's the second time we've seen that happen this season. Normally umpires won't award time to batters when the pitcher is in the stretch. It's interesting when they do because once you come set on the mound, that typically signals that the ball is about to become live.
You see that more on the professional level.
1-1 pitch, a breaking pitch, running upstairs, 2-1 the count. The CCL, of course, the first ever wood bat amateur development league created in the country. And all these guys are trying to do is get ready for the pros, so pro-style umpiring, part of that. Foul tip back into the glove of Bryce Vitt brings the count to 2 balls and 2 strikes to Christian Lucio. The Oaks middle infield, Tanner Wright and Will Pickett's shaded over a little bit towards the bag. Second base bag, that is, hoping for a double play ball. As Dolan offers the 2-2. Cracked over to first. McFarland turns, fires at the Pickett's for 1, but there won't be a relay back to first, and the Oaks will take the force out. Give him a 3-6 put out, allowing Lucio over to first on the fielder's choice and outlet back to the bench.
A double play ball, but not hit quite hard enough for McFarland and Pickett's to turn the double play.
Cameron Dean stepping in now. Earlier in the game, perhaps one of the more productive Barons batters, went 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs, 2 singles, and 2 stolen bases. Looping curveball misses upstairs for ball 1. Two outs in the inning. Here in the bottom of the second, the Oaks up 3-0. Aiden Dolan towing the rubber. Generous lead off of first for Lucio. Nods and offers. The runner goes. Swing and a miss. The throw from Vitt. Not in time. It was a good throw, but just a little bit off the base. Tanner Wright had to swing to his right to make the catch and then move to his left to apply the tag, and he couldn't make the catch and apply the tag in a swift enough motion to get Lucio out, and that brings a runner in scoring position. But a 1-1 count here to Cameron Dean.
And you can't blame Vitt for that stolen base. That's on the pitcher. That was a fantastic jump by Lucio.
Dolan with a 1-1 count. Toes the rubber, checks the runner at second, and steps off wisely. The Barons were able to stay in the game last game, earlier today, in the 6-5 loss because of how often they ran on the Oaks. 6 stolen bases, and a lot of them came around to score thereafter. 1-1 in. Runner goes, bounces in the dirt away from Vitt, sliding in safely as Lucio. That ball quickly ricochets off the backstop back to Vitt, though. And the wild pitch, though, should still be scored a stolen base. Indeed, it is because the runner was running before the pitch was down. 2 stolen bases now for Lucio, and a 2-1 count to Cameron Dean. Dolan taking his time on the rubber. Very methodical out there, trying to work his way out of this inning with a runner on third. Offers. Slow hopper over to second. Tanner Wright charges it and quickly deals it to McFarland for out number 3. No runs, no hits, no errors. Lucio stranded on third base. The first base runner stranded on the day for the Barons. The Oaks still lead 3-0 here. Headed to the third inning. You're watching Oaks Baseball on the Oaks Baseball Broadcasting Network.
Leading off.
Elijah Alexander leads things off here for the Oaks to begin the third inning. Swings and misses at the first pitch from Nettles for strike one. Alexander is yet to record an official at-bat, though he did walk back in the first inning. Was stranded on second when the Oaks stranded the bases loaded in that first inning. Nettles quickly deals the 0-1 up and away. Evens the count to the UTRGV product. Batted over the 280 mark this past season. And had two walk-offs. One in postseason play and one early in the season. Takes that pitch outside, 2-1 the count.
And Jonathan, it's been a while since we've called an Elijah Alexander home run. He's definitely due, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see one here today.
How the Oaks have been knocking that baseball around the diamond as of late, I wouldn't put it past him to knock one out of the park today. Foul it off. 2-2 the count now for Elijah Alexander. Tore up the JC level when he played at Ventura College. Was really good in high school, Camarillo High School as well. Is making his mark in the WCC with UTRGV. Line drive down into center field for a single. Alexander is on his second time today, but he's 1 for 1 after the walk and the single. The Oaks have a leadoff base runner on for the second time today as Andrew Lucas will step in.
That a way to start the inning, Elijah Alexander. A good opposite field hit. Really good contact off the bat. And the Oaks are in business.
3 runs, 6 hits, no errors for Conejo. No runs, 1 hit, 1 error for the Academy Barons. Lucas stepping back in. He's 0 for 1 with a strikeout looking. Takes a pitch for strike one. Now 21 strikeouts on the season, which puts him in second on the team behind Bart West. Elijah Alexander does have a lot of speed over there at first as Nettles checks him and offers. Big swing and a miss, strike two to Lucas. On the season for Elijah Alexander, he's 6 for 8 in stolen bases. He does lead the Oaks, though, with 61 total bases. My mistake, I was actually looking at Brandon Lewis' stats. He has 28 total bases. He runs there, strike three, called the throw, goes over the head of Martin, into center field, and Elijah Alexander stands on third base. So a strikeout, a stolen base, and then an error puts a runner 90 feet away from scoring for the Oaks. They're already up 3-0, looking to tack on a couple of insurance runs if they can. 3 strikeouts for Anthony Nettles. That error by way of Garrett Alouette. That's 2 errors now in the ballgame for the Barons. Bryce Vitt stepping in. He's 0 for 0 with a walk back in the first inning. The first pitch upstairs for ball one. Runner on third, 1 out. The Oaks up 3-0, looking to tack on as much as possible. Coming off a 2-hour and 59-minute game. I want to make this one quick, but they still want to be productive. Nettles offers. Upstairs, ball 2. Elijah Alexander just picked up his 5th stolen base of the season, by the way. The Oaks want to drive him in here. Vitt taking his time. Nettles comes set from the belt. Twirls that ball in his glove and offers. Up and away for ball 3, and Vitt, who was walked on 4 pitches back in the first inning, could recreate the same result here, depending on what Nettles throws on the 3-0 count.
Not the guy you want to walk.
Michael Tillman waiting on deck. Vitt swings at the 3-0. Fouls it off against the screen. 3 balls and a strike now. Future Sonoma State player. The Oaks actually have a history with really good Sonoma State baseball players. The first base coach, Kyle Jones, for the Oaks is the all-time hits leader at Sonoma State. Vitt swings and misses on the 3-1. A fastball low and away. Got him over. Full count now. Of course, the Oaks had Coach Jones' younger brother, Riley Jones, last season. He's also at Sonoma State. Played second base for the Oaks very effectively, mind you, behind Max Weinstein. Nettles comes set. Payoff pitch. Skied out of play, and that was a good pitch. But Vitt showing some fight lives for another pitch here. 3 balls, 2 strikes once again. Very quiet day at the ballpark. A handful of fans at the MLB Urban Youth Academy. Far more, though, than attended the game yesterday at Biola. Payoff pitch again. Half-hearted swing. They say he went around on a fastball in the dirt. Strike 3. Second consecutive strikeout here for Nettles. 4th on the ball game. And now 2 outs with the runner on third. The Oaks are in danger of stranding Elijah Alexander at third. He was at third with only 1 out back when Andrew Lucas struck out. Two outs now from Michael Tillman. He's 0 for 1 today. Was the final out of the first inning, with a ground out to short. First pitch. Skied to left center field. That drops it. Good for extra bases. Elijah Alexander scores. Michael Tillman rounding first, going to second, where he'll put on the brakes. And the Oaks get a 2-out double. Very much like in the second inning when they got a 2-out double. And they take a 4-0 lead.
Great swing from Michael Tillman, catching an off-speed pitch out in front. He got barrel to the baseball and extends the Oaks lead to 4-0.
Michael Tillman picking up his 7th RBI and 4th double of the season. 2 outs, 1 around, 1 on, and Will Pickett stepping in, flew out to right to kick off the second inning. That was his lone at-bat here today. Did not play in the first game. First a pickoff attempt to Tillman. Very athletic move out of short by Daniel Harris. Almost got him, but Tillman got his hand under the tag and was safe at second base. Pickett sporting that Pierce Junior College colored helmet, black and red. First pitch to him is a strike at the knees. Four runs, 7 hits, no errors for the Oaks. No runs, 1 hit, 2 errors for the Barons. Both runs, though, runners that got on base by way of the errors came around to score, but both were earned. Nettles deals a pitch in the dirt, bounces off the chest protector of Owlette, but no damage done as Tillman stays put at second. 1 ball, 1 strike the count.
Pickett has been heating up of late. He's due for another big knock.
Had 2 hits yesterday in his first multi-hit ball game of the season. Pickoff attempts. Very close, but I think Nettles needs to start focusing more on these batters, Jordan. We saw the last time he focused heavily on a base runner, and Jordan McFarland, he ended up walking Elijah Alexander back in the first inning. And especially with 2 outs up on the board, I don't think you should worry too much about that base runner at second, especially with the Oaks' number 9 hitter up in the order.
Well, Nettles has a great move. I'm just not sure now's the time to be using it.
1-1, a 2-hopper over to short, charging it is Harris, and he won't make a play. Over at first base, Will Pickett is safe. We'll wait on the official score here, but the runners are at the corners. And they're going to give Harris an E6 because I guess he could have gotten that throw off and tried to make the play. Instead, though, the Oaks have runners at the corners, and this inning stays alive as Tanner Wright, back at the top of the order, who was 1 for 2 on the game, steps in.
And that's the 3rd error of the ball game for the Barons. Not a great recipe to upsetting a really hot Oaks team.
Tanner Wright stepping in here. As I mentioned, 1 for 2, a single, a run scored, and a ground out. Takes that pitch low for ball 1. If you're Nettles, you're actually not pitching a bad inning. They give up a hit to Elijah Alexander, got 2 consecutive strikeouts. Tillman doubled, but a handful of errors in this inning as the pickoff attempts has Pickett sliding back safely have been the catalyst of the Oaks' run so far and the runners at the corners. The Clark Atlanta product. Nods and offers. Runner goes. Wright slaps that pitch foul, though. 1 ball and a strike. The Oaks will be off tomorrow. This is what will be the 5th result in 3 days. The Oaks had a game on Friday. Finished up a game in 10 innings yesterday that was suspended earlier in the season. Played a full game and won. and took game one of the doubleheader here today. They're very much looking forward to that day off tomorrow before hosting the Foresters on Tuesday and the Saints on Wednesday. 1-1. Towing the third base line, but fielded by Oaks head coach Dave Solis, playing third base coach today. 1 ball, 2 strikes now to Tanner Wright. Very slow first 3 innings. Already an hour into the ball game. Nettles taking his time at the belt. The 1-2. Missing outside evens the count here to Tanner Wright. And I think the other Achilles heel for Anthony Nettles here today, he's done a very good job getting ahead of a lot of these batters, but the Oaks have been working in the count and fighting their way back to manufacture base runners. Nettles, though, trying to keep this offense at bay. Deals. Tanner Wright fouls that one back off the end of the barrel. The count remains 2 balls and 2 strikes. Brandon Lewis waiting on deck. He's 2 for 2 with the home run and a double. 2 runs scored, 2 RBIs already in the game. And you know Tanner Wright is itching to let his Brandon Lewis counterpart bat here if he can. 2-2 in. Called strike 3 at the knees. Only the 6th strikeout all season for Tanner Wright. The 4th of the ball game, the 3rd of the inning. And finally, the top of the 3rd has concluded. 1 run, 2 hits, 2 errors, and the bases left with runners at the corners. We're through 2.5. The Oaks up over the Barons, 4-0 on the Oaks Baseball Broadcasting Network. We'll be right back.
Martin.
Bruce Martin in the 7th spot will lead things off here. The Barons, they're trailing 4-0 into the bottom of the 3rd inning. Excuse me, the 8th spot, my mistake on that. And the first pitch from Dolan is dealt. Showed bunt, pulled back, pitches inside for ball 1. Big spot here for the Barons. They don't want the Oaks to run away with this, and if they do, that would be the Oaks' 9th win consecutively. Takes a fastball in the dirt. 2 balls, no strikes. Bruce Martin from Stetson, a very good baseball school. Known for their high-octane offense. Fouls off the 2-0 pitch to put a strike up on the board. Aiden Dolan, though, has been dealing only 1 hit, 1 walk, and no strikeouts. Actually, yes, excuse me, 1 strikeout so far. Nonetheless, though, a very productive first couple innings for him. Another punch shown but pulled bat. Martin now ahead in the count 3-1 on the low fastball. Towing the rubber, Dolan rocks and fires. Ball 4 in the dirt puts Bruce Martin at first base. The second walk given up by Dahlin on the day. And they have some speed over there. Martin had a stolen base earlier today. And once again, for the second consecutive inning, the Barons have their leadoff runner on. Garrett Ouellette drew a walk back in the second inning, but was thrown out on a fielder's choice thereafter. Roosevelt Barnes steps in. He's very dangerous. They put him at the 9th spot for reasons such as this. Runner on first, nobody out, and he possesses a lot of speed on top of an ability to hit the ball very well. Runner goes, first pitch taken, called ball. Throw is high from Vitt over to right. And it looked like Martin came off the bag as he overslid, and now
I think
he's
they
hurt.
called him out.
They did call him out. I think he was safe on the slide, and much like Tanner Wright earlier today, when Wright stole second base, he overslid, and in an awkward way, it looks like, as he's injured and really in a lot of pain out there at second. Nothing you ever want to see out there on the baseball diamond, no matter who you're a fan of. And we certainly hope he's okay. He slid out over his stomach as he overshot the bag. He's going to get up and try to walk it off as this Oaks team waits in silence.
That's just brutal. He had that bag stolen, and you can't blame him for coming off the base. He was clearly in a lot of pain. And Tanner Wright, you know, he tagged him out when he came off the base. The Oaks will take the out, but certainly not happy with the injury.
No, I think they'd rather let him be safe at not let him, but I think they'd rather him be safe at second base with no injury than him be tagged out with an injury, and that's how it should be, obviously, because at the end of the day, player safety supersedes any stat line. So we hope he's okay. We'll see what happens. He is playing second base in this game, but Bryce Vitt throws him out after he overshot second base for out number 1. Roosevelt Barnes has a 1-0 count. The pitch to him is foul tipped. Evens the count 1-1. Dahlin on the mound here in his 4th start of the season, keeping that ERA below 2.2. The Oaks team ERA has really been dropping, 3.68 now. Bounces a fastball in the dirt. 2 balls and a strike here to the Morehouse College product. But with the Healdsburg walk-off win, they maintain a half-game lead over the Oaks. The Oaks will try to win this game and tie it up as a shot over to left field by Barnes goes over the left field fence. He knocks in his first home run of the season and puts the Barons on the board here in the bottom of a 3rd inning. The score is 4-1.
What a big home run right there. He caught that one out in front. And a towering shot. Kind of looked like Brandon Lewis's home run earlier in the ball game. A little bit further left, though.
Now batting the center fielder, number 4, Desmond Gates.
That'll bring up Desmond Gates now back to the top of the order.
And Jonathan, how big does that caught stealing look now?
It's a rough one because that could have been 2 runs instead of 1. And as we know, a 2-run lead versus a 3-run lead is a big difference. First pitch to Desmond Gates is a strike on the outside corner. Gates is 0 for 1 with a ground out to second his first time up. 1 run, 2 hits, 3 errors for the Barons as that pitch misses low to even the count. 4 runs, 7 hits, no errors for the Oaks. The 2 hits have been by way of Daniel Harris waiting on deck and that home run by Roosevelt Barnes, an at bat to go. Gates pops that one back against the screen. He's behind in the count, a ball and 2 strikes. Dahlin working the count, offers. 2-hopper over to first, fielded by McFarland. Dahlin races to the bag and beats out Gates for out number 3. 1 run, 1 hit, no errors, nobody left on base. The Barons able to cut into this lead a little bit. It's now 4-1. The Oaks will have to tack on a couple more. Actually, excuse me, that was 2 outs. I miswrote it in my book. So just kidding. Still one more out to go. I think I was testing everybody's stamina here. Ours is certainly being tested, but if you're enjoying this inning, it still continues. Daniel Harris stepping in. He's 1 for 1 with a single. High and deep to left field. Tillman running back to the wall, and it's off the wall. Good for extra bases. Rounding first, going to second, Harris. Throw comes in. He'll stand on second base with a 2-out double. And this inning forever continues. 2 hits now, a run around. Runner in scoring position for Hunter Lewis.
Aiden Dolan's got to dig deep just like all of us do, all the players. It's a doubleheader. We understand that. It's hot outside. We understand that. But this is a big, crucial at-bat in this game. And if Dolan can get out of it, that would be huge for the Oaks.
Hunter Lewis 0 for 1, struck out for the first and only strikeout of Dolan's day so far. Gives up his 3rd hit by way of Daniel Harris, who's 2 for 2 now. And Dolan steps off, wanting some more time. First 3 innings of this ball game, taking an hour and 8 minutes to get through. And at this pace, we're looking at almost a 4-hour ball game. Well, 3+ hour, but it has been long. And the Oaks already played an early 3-hour ball game today in the first game. Pitch bounces in the dirt. Harris thought about going, but holds it off as Vitt corrals that ball. 1-0 the count. It's a nice day here in Compton. Overcast, but a slight breeze to remedy the 90+ degree heat. The grass is green, the dirt is a crisp brown color, and there is no better park to play baseball than MLB Urban Youth Academy here in the CCL. Dolan offers a curveball in there for strike 1. That evens the count. The righty working on the mound. Digs in here and toes the rubber. 2.5-step lead off of second base for Harris. Dolan comes set. Checks the runner and offers the 1-1. Curveball. Slapped down the left field line, but foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes now. This Oaks win streak began back on Wednesday, June 27th, when the Oaks went up to San Luis Obispo and won 5-1. They then were down 8-4 in the 9th inning the next day, Thursday, June 28th, to the Orange County Riptide and put up 4 big runs in the bottom of the 9th. To tie up the game 8-8. The game was later called due to darkness. It'll be played out this upcoming Sunday, a week from today. Dolan offers the 1-2. Another one slapped foul. Count remains the same. After that big comeback and tie, the Oaks down the Riptide 5-1 on the second half of a home-and-home on Friday, June 29th. The Oaks took 2 against the Puff Caps on June 30th and July 1st. And then beat the SoCal Cubs this past Tuesday 12-1 before opening up CCL play once again on Friday, where they beat the Catch 13-4, and then the Catch yesterday once again 10-6. 1-2 patch, hacked at down the line and foul for a 3rd straight time. 1 ball and 2 strikes is the count. Dolan fighting to try to get out of this inning, an inning that I actually thought ended 2 batters ago, but I was very wrong on that account. Daniel Harris made me eat my words by doubling. That one, though, popped up to center field. Alexander racing to it behind at the track and makes the catch. Finally, for out number 3. This time, I promise you, is indeed out number 3, and the 3rd inning is finally over. 1 run, 2 hits, no errors, and a runner stranded on second base. We're through 3 full here from the MLB Urban Youth Academy in Compton. 4-1 the score. The Oaks try to hold on to a 3-run lead after this on the Oaks Baseball Broadcasting Network.
The third base.
We're back for the top of the fourth inning and taking over play-by-play. My name is Jordan Brenner. Jonathan, you did a great job. Brandon Lewis digs in. He's having a big day so far. 2 for 2, big home run and a double. He is on cycle watch as usual. First pitch, Lewis swings, fouls it back. It's 0-1. One of the longest days of the year for the Conejo Oaks. But a learning experience for everybody. Trying to make to pursue a profession in professional baseball. This is the reality of it sometimes. The 0-1 pitch taken down and away. The count even at 1 now. Crowd starting to fill in as the games surrounding us finish. A ball and a strike. Nettles deals the pitch, a curveball. Brandon Lewis, a fly ball. Shallow right field. The second baseman, Martin, out, but he's called off by Barnes in right field, and it's caught for the first out of the inning. Next up for the Oaks, Jordan McFarland. He's also had a big day. 2 for 2, 2 big doubles. And he also has an RBI. And after going what seems like a week without hitting an extra base hit, he can't not hit an extra base hit today. First pitch, line back to the screen. It's 0-1. Nettles has grinded. Not as clean a start, but he's worked through this lineup quite well. Fastball just misses outside. Count even at 1-1. Nettles shakes off his catcher, now agrees. And the windup and the pitch. Fastball high and away, 2-1. Two balls, one strike. From the belt, he goes. A raise of the knee and the pitch. Fastball, ground ball over to shortstop. Harris fields. Fires over to first in time to get him. 6-3 on the putout. And 2 quick outs here for the Oaks. Chase Cockrell, the new hitter. Cockrell, a rare 0 for 2 today, at least in this game. In the first ball game, he had a hit. He had a base hit in the first inning and scored a run. Also reached on an error and a walk. Yesterday, Cockrell, the big double that cleared the bases loaded situation for the Oaks, and he takes a big hook in there on the inside corner and at the knees, 0-1. The pitch to Cockrell, taken outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Wind blowing a little bit out to left field. Some of the notable players who have played at MLB Urban Youth Academy: Trace Thompson, Chris Davis, Aaron Hicks. Next pitch in there, called a strike. Chase Cockrell can't believe it. But the count is 1-2. A premier facility here in Southern California has hosted some really good Major League Baseball players. 1-2 pitch. Cockrell swings through it, and that will end the half inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left aboard. We're on to the bottom of the fourth here at MLB Urban Youth Academy. 4-0 Oaks on the Oaks Baseball Broadcasting Network. Garrett Owlett, the catcher with the cannon arm, set to lead off the bottom of the fourth inning. He's had one plate appearance today. He walked. Was later thrown out at second base on a fielder's choice. Hit by Christian Lucio. Aiden Dolan on the hill. Kicks and fires. First pitch shows bunt. And can't make contact. It's 0-1. No balls, one strike. Dolan peers in for his sign from Vitt. Off speed in the dirt. 1 ball, 1 strike. Here's the 1-1 offering. Down in the dirt again, 2-1. Sports world has been busy as of late. World Cup, NBA, free agency, MLB. Next pitch high, 3-1.
You know what, Jordan? It's funny because we're talking about how hot the sports world has been, and nobody's been talking about the NFL and all the suspensions going on. And you can bet that Roger Goodell is thanking his stars right now that the NBA has so many big moves right now.
3-1 on the ground, but foul, and the count is full.
Because all the eyes have been on what's been going on in Major League Baseball and the American League and how the NBA free agency has been going, that nobody's been paying attention to the mass amount of suspensions that have been consistently been placed on NFL players. And if you go to that ESPN NFL page, actually, everything is, the top 5 headlines are all suspensions with the exception of an owner saying something or other. But nobody cares right now because the NBA has just been making so much noise. And normally the NBA doesn't overshadow the NFL, especially after the NBA season's over.
Yeah, the NFL is certainly lacking some juice right now. And that's coming from a diehard football fan. Myself, full count outlet. Dolan from the chest, a long pause, and the throw. Ground ball into the shift, fielded by right sidearm. Over to McFarland for the second out of the inning.
Have we seen a shift like that this season by the Oaks?
Actually, that's the first out of the inning. And I think we have seen it a few times.
I don't know if it's been hit. We've seen a hit into the shift, but finally the Oaks, at least putting it on, were able to contribute.
New hitter Trevor Matson popped out behind the plate to the catcher. Bryce Vitt, his last time up. And that was his only plate appearance. Takes off speed in the dirt, 1-0. Dolan has quietly had a very, very good start today. 1-0 pitch. Outside, 2-0. We mentioned earlier, Dolan was extremely good his last time out. Only gave up 2 hits, and he struck out 8 batters in 5 innings. Next pitch, foul tipped out of play to the left side. It bounces towards the Barons' dugout. And it's 2-1. His stuff today, however, doesn't look quite as sharp. He gave up that 1 home run to Roosevelt Barnes. And he's been falling behind in a lot of counts. Off speed. I don't know where that one missed, but called a ball, 3-1. There is now no wind here. A pitcher-friendly ballpark. And the 3-1 delivery. Lined into left field. Will it drop? No, it will not. Michael Tillman, an efficient route, makes the grab for the second out of the inning. Christian Lucio now up, grounded into a fielder's choice. Stole second base, stole third base, but was stranded there back in the second inning. And I saw an interesting stat today, Jonathan, where the World Cup actually had almost the same amount of viewership as the NBA playoffs, as the pitch is fouled back, and it's 0-1.
Do you find that fascinating because it speaks volumes to the amount of fans that the NBA has built up or to the amount of fans that the World Cup has? Because obviously I would say the World Cup is a much more internationalized sport.
And maybe I should be more clear. In the United States, next pitch, a curveball catches the corner, 0-2. And it's impressive to me because it shows how much soccer has grown in the States, becoming one of the more prominent sports. And we're talking about games not in prime time. 0-2 from Dahlin. The pitch, down in the dirt, blocked by Vitt, 1-2.
Are you telling me that 7 a.m. soccer kickoff is not prime time?
It's not.
What are you doing at 7 a.m.?
Well, what I was doing for the France-Uruguay game was watching soccer. That was the first game I watched in completion in the World Cup.
Who did France play?
Uruguay.
Third time's the charm. Yeah, Uruguay.
Uruguay.
Can you roll your R?
Absolutely not.
All right. So, you know what? We'll give you a pass on the mispronunciation. How about that?
Well, anyway, France won that game. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Dahlin from the belt, a raise of the knee in the pitch. Curve ball, ground ball over to first base. McFarland gets in front of it, runs to tag first base to complete the threat. A 1-2-3 frame for Aiden Dahlin. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left aboard. 4 have come and gone. We're on to the 5th. 4-1 Oaks on the Oaks Baseball Broadcasting Network. We're back for the top of the 5th inning. Leadoff hitter is Elijah Alexander. 1 for 1, a base hit and a walk. Called strike, it's 0-1. And earlier in this ball game, I'll own up to it. I said Elijah Alexander's due for a home run today. We'll see if I'm right. Low and away, 1-1. Alexander's best game of the season came up in San Luis Obispo, where he fell a home run short of the cycle, and he takes off speed in the dirt, 2-1.
Jordan, we were talking about the World Cup in the last inning, and I want to ask you what your championship prediction is now that we have the semifinal set.
2-1 pitch, down low, 3-1. I guess I'll go Brazil, if they're still in it. Not in it.
Brazil lost in a really bad game against Belgium.
All right. I don't know.
Romelu Lukaku was really good, and Neymar was not.
3-1. Alexander, a ground ball. Will it get through? Yes. Past the diving glove of Martin. And Alexander, 2 for 2 now. Aboard all 3 times.
I'll give you my prediction.
I'll go England. England's a great team. I love the way they play.
I think that France is going to take the cake, and I think it's not even going to be close. Antoine Griezmann is really broken out here towards the latter half of the World Cup. You have Mbappe, a 19-year-old world superstar. Giroud, of course, the star attacker. Lloris, a phenomenal goalie. France is just going to take it all the way for me. I'm not convinced that England could win it, though they are very good.
Could we see an England-France World Cup final?
We can, because they're playing two different teams. It's Belgium, France, and Croatia, England.
First pitch high. No, he did not go. Let's want to know.
Of course, Croatia.
You got to get the security guards out if that one happens.
Oh, absolutely. And those two teams, bitter rivals. You would have Harry Kane versus Antoine Griezmann. That is perhaps one of the best striker duos in all of the world.
Yeah, Harry Kane. I've been following him his whole career as there's a throw over to first base. He's one of my favorite players.
Absolutely tears it up for Tottenham.
And by the way, I'm kidding. I didn't know who he was until a few days ago.
You weren't wrong, though, about him tearing it up.
Next pitch high, 2-0.
But you can't go wrong with Belgium, England either. Of course, Romelu Lukaku and Eden Hazard, De Bruyne are all phenomenal players for that Belgian team.
The battle of the waffle and the fish and chips.
If you said that to either of those two teams, I think they'd kick you out of the stadium.
Yeah, probably. Throw over to first. Alexander dives back in safely.
I will not call up my contact at the French national team. And actually, you didn't say anything about France, so it doesn't matter. But I still won't call up.
Mbappe's got some of the best straight line speed in the world. Throw over to first.
Certainly up there.
I heard a stat that he actually was running at an equivalent speed as Usain Bolt at one point. As that pitch catches the corner, 2-1. Maybe I'm completely out of my mind. I don't know.
If he can run,
it wouldn't be the first time.
If he could run a sub 10-4 100-meter dash, then I think I'd agree with you. But Usain Bolt is otherworldly.
2 balls, 1 strike. Nettles checks the runner. Will he throw over yet again? No. Here's the pitch. High and away, 3-1.
We're going to go talk about baseball now, I think.
I agree. It seems as though Nettles has broken the record and then some for most throw-overs in a ball game.
Yeah, we certainly haven't seen anywhere near the amount from opposing pitchers this season, pickoff-wise, from what we've seen from Nettles.
There's another one. And again, Alexander back in safely. He's got a good move. But I think he might learn as his career progresses that the move. There's another throw over. It gets away from the first baseman, Lewis. And Alexander goes to second base. What I was saying is that throw over is a weapon of his. He's got to pick and choose where to use it to maybe catch the Oaks more off guard because he's throwing over every other pitch.
He's throwing every other pitch. It's giving these batters an opportunity to remain patient in the batter's box, and he's yet to pick off an Oak. Right there, he makes a mistake that allows Alexander over to second. Maybe picking off these batters or attempting to should be looked at a little bit more sporadically.
Next pitch, Lucas takes in the dirt, and he is walked. Runners on first and second now. And nobody out in the inning. I think that's going to be ruled an error on Nettles on the throw over. And that's the 4th of the ball game for the Barons. And we're going to see a mound visit with head coach Kenny Landrew. And will we see a pitching change? I don't see much action going on in the Barons bullpen. I might be wrong. The new hitter for the Conejo Oaks, Bryce Vitt, the catcher. He's 0 for 1. And we're going to see a pitching change. So we're going to get you the final line on Anthony Nettles, the new pitcher, what he's been doing this year when we come back. Runners on first and second base, no outs here in the 5th frame. You're watching Oaks Baseball on the Oaks Baseball Broadcasting Network. We're back here in the 5th inning. The new pitcher is Gavin Stroud. Anthony Nettles' final line: 4 innings, 8 hits, 4 runs, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts, and infinite throwovers to first and second base as well. New pitcher is Gavin Stroud, 7 2/3 innings, 5.87 ERA. The new hitter, Bryce Vitt, 0 for 1, a strikeout and a walk. First pitch looks to be an off-speed slider, catches the outside corner. Vitt going to chirp to the home plate umpire just to get a better idea of the zone in his head. No balls, 1 strike. Michael Tillman is on deck. A check of the runner at second base. Here's the pitch. Vitt shows bunt. He pulls back, and it's called a ball. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And for Gavin Stroud, he actually replaced Anthony Nettles back on June 10th when these two teams played, when the Barons won 3-1. Won 1 inning, gave no hits and no runs, but did walk 2 Oaks batters. No strikeouts in that outing. That was the only time these two teams played each other where Stroud came in the game.
Vitt can't get the bunt down, and the count is 1-2. He pushed it foul towards the Oaks dugout. Thank you for tuning in to Oaks Baseball on a nice Sunday afternoon from Compton, wherever you might be listening from. We appreciate the support. Feel free to interact with us. Next pitch high, and the count even at 2.
And Jeffrey Francis forever interacting with us, talking about the game time. Absolutely, this game could go 4 hours with the pace that it's been going right now, a tortoise speed.
2 balls, 2 strikes. A check of the runner at second, and not a throw over, but a step off to look Alexander back.
Hour and 40 minutes into this game and only into the 5th inning. Has been creeping along.
2-2. A check of the runner. Lifts the knee. Here's the pitch. Fastball swung through it. He strikes out swinging for the first out of the frame. Still 2 on with 1 out for Michael Tillman. And Tillman's had a big day so far. He had an RBI double in the 3rd inning. He also grounded out into a 6-3 putout back in the 1st. He's 1 for 2. The left fielder's playing time has decreased as the Oaks lineup has gotten deeper. Jordan McFarland coming to the team. Chase Cockrell came late, taking away some minutes from Tillman, but he's always ready. Fly ball out to shallow center field. Coming in and making the grab, Desmond Gates for the 2nd out of the inning. And Will Picketts will step in there. Picketts, 0 for 1, reached on an error in the 3rd inning. Pickett's among the most versatile players on this Oaks team, has the ability to play second base, shortstop, and I'm sure third base as well. I'm not sure if we've seen him there, though. And that's one thing that Coach Solis has, is versatility. He has multiple players who can play multiple positions. Brandon Lewis, Chase Cockrell, both can play outfield and infield spots. McFarland as well. Tanner Wright, versatile. Will Picketts as well. And the first pitch is called a strike. It's 0-1. Sam Shakin, too, can play any place on the left side of the infield. No balls, 1 strike to Will Picketts. Runners on first and second base. Alexander at second. And Andrew Lucas at first. Ground ball to the shortstop. Backhanded. Harris beats Picketts by a step to first base to end the inning on the 6-3 putout. No runs, a hit, an error, and 2 left aboard. We're through 4.5 innings from Compton, California. Don't go anywhere. We got the bottom of the 5th coming up. 4-1 Oaks on the Oaks Baseball Broadcasting Network.
Leading off for the Barons, the left fielder, number 31, Cameron.
The bottom of the fifth inning starts with the left fielder, Cameron Dean. He's 0 for 1 with a ground out. And going on with the theme of the long baseball game today, I thought I'd share some of the longest sporting events in the history of the world this inning. As the first pitch bounces in the dirt, it's 1-0. I'm going to start off with a baseball game between the Pawtucket Red Sox and the Rochester Red Wings in 1981. And it was the longest baseball game ever played. And the next pitch, called a strike, 1-1. It was suspended at 4 a.m., by which time the crowd shrunk from over 1,700 people to just 19. The next pitch bounces in the dirt, 2-1. And when it restarted, 2 months later, Pawtucket scored a run and clinched the game after just playing 18 minutes. Sounds a little bit similar to the Tyler Ryan home run after the week suspension, as that ball is fouled out of play to the right side and off the bleachers. Just think about that. A game suspended 2 months. Unbelievable. That was a minor league contest. That's one of the longest sporting events ever recorded. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Called strike 3 right down the middle on the curveball. Dolan drops the hammer. And a beautiful off-speed pitch helps him get the first out of the inning and his second strikeout of the ballgame. Next hitter is Bruce Martin, who walked and was thrown out, trying to steal second base. Another one of the longest sporting events ever. It's actually pretty recent. In 2010, I remember this sporting event, actually, and it was a tennis match between John Isner from America, and Nicolas Mahut from France. First pitch is a strike, 0-1. This match took more than 11 hours to play, and they did it over the course of 3 days. That's brutal, especially for a sport which requires that much endurance. Next pitch, a changeup, a beauty. Breaks to the back leg, it's 0-2. In the tiebreaker, Isner finally won 70-68 in the final set. As the pitch misses. And believe it or not, both players were given, well, deservingly, a standing ovation at the end of their match. Curveball swung on a miss. Dolan heating up here. 2 straight strikeouts to start off the 5th inning, his 3rd of the ball game. And I guess this is pretty predictable, but another one of the longest sporting events was actually a chess match. It went on for 5 months, Jonathan.
Wow. That's quite a long time.
Here's the first pitch showing bunt. Laid down beautifully down the third base line. Lewis Fields fires over to first. It's down the right field line. Going to second base is Roosevelt Barnes. He's still running. He's going to third. The throw to third, cut off by Will Picketts. And a base hit and 2 errors for Barnes, who's 2 for 2 now with a home run and a single. He advanced 2 bases on the E5 from Brandon Lewis. Desmond Gates going to try and get a runner in for the Barons and try and reduce this lead from 4-1 to less. Gates is 0 for 2. Dolan's first pitch, fastball outside, 1-0. I can't even imagine sitting down and playing a chess game over 5 months. 1 ball, no strikes. Dolan peers in. He slings it. Outside again, 2-0. Persistent crowd here at MLB Urban Youth Academy. Still a large show out. Probably around 100 people. Maybe a little bit less. 2-0 from Dolan. From the belt, he offers. Lined into right center field. That's going to drop for a hit. Cut off by Alexander, but Barnes is going to come around to score. And the Barons within 2 runs here on the RBI base hit from Desmond Gates.
How about the Barons? Keeping up the resiliency with 2 outs.
Now batting the shortstop.
Showing that they can knock them around when they matter the most right here. Solis looks like he's going to pull Dolan, and the Oaks are going to try to keep this lead at a 2-run ball game for the offense, because the Barons can strike for a few more runs. With 2 outs, they'll have a momentum shift, and the Oaks don't need that right now. If you're the Barons, though, keep it going. The momentum right now, slowly but surely swaying in your favor. So it looks like David Appleby will come out.
And Aiden Dolan started the inning off well. 2 strikeouts, but knocked around. And he's pulled from the game after 4 2/3 quality innings. We'll get you the new pitcher's line, and we'll get you Dolan's line and Appleby's numbers when we come back here on the Oaks Baseball Broadcasting Network. Aiden Dolan's day is done. 4 2/3, 5 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. And David Appleby, the Michigan Wolverine, gonna take over. The umpire having a quick discussion with Appleby on the mound. Appleby has gone 13 1/3. He's pitched to a 6.75 ERA. 2 starts, 8 total appearances, and he's coming out of the pen here to finish off the 5th inning. A runner is on first base. That's Desmond Gates, who just knocked in Roosevelt Barnes on the RBI hit to make this a 4-2 ball game. Oaks trying to preserve their 8-game winning streak.
Now batting the shortstop, number 25,
Daniel
Harris.
Daniel Harris is the new hitter. He's actually 2 for 2. He stole a base in the first. That was second. Then he was caught stealing, trying to go to third. First pitch from Appleby outside, 1-0. His second time up, Harris doubled to left field and was stranded over there. The righty digs in. Where's number 25? Appleby's 1-0 offering. Vitt sets away. Here's the pitch. The runner goes. Fastball. Vitt pops up. The throw to second is not in time on a wild slide from Gates. A good throw from Vitt, but again, that bag was stolen on the pitcher. For Desmond Gates, looks like his first stolen base of the year. Appleby going to check on Gates at second base. It's 1-0. Actually 2-0 to Daniel Harris. And a quick meeting on the mound between Vitt and Appleby, and now set for baseball once more. MLB Urban Youth Academy certainly has the most high-powered sponsors in the CCL. You can see them out in right field. I'll name them for you in a moment. 2-0 pitch, Appleby sets and offers. Down and away, it's 3-0. Papa John's, MLB at bat, Chevrolet. And actually, the count is 2-1. 2 balls, a strike. Gates off of second. Appleby from the belt, a deep breath, and one more check of the runner, and now here's the offering. Low, 3-1. Appleby leads the Conejo Oaks in walks this season with 13. He's also hit 4 batters. The 3-1 pitch on its way. Almost hits the batter. And Gates is going to move over to third base as the ball gets by Bryce Vitt. Now runners on the corners with 2 outs. And the Oaks got to find some way to get out of this inning with the lead. Now the tying run is on first base, and the go-ahead run is at the plate. Represented by Hunter Lewis, the first baseman.
Now batting the first baseman, number 20, Hunter
Lewis, however, is not having his best day at the plate. 0 for 2, a strikeout, and a flyout to Elijah Alexander out in center field. Oaks getting a refill on their water. They've gone through plenty of it, I'm sure. Appleby's first pitch, a strike. It's 0-1. A fastball zipping out of his hands, and it is located at the knees for strike 1. Appleby's got to dig deep here. Here's in for a sign. Runner goes to second base. No throw needed. The Oaks will give up that still on base, not wanting Gates to trot in from third base. But the count is 0-2. None of that matters if Appleby can get Hunter Lewis out. From Indiana State. Decorated basketball history at that school. The 0-2 pitch, slider, slides away. 1-2. 2 runners in scoring position. 4 runs on 8 hits for the Oaks. 2 runs, 5 hits. 4 errors for the Barons. Oaks also have an error of their own. Appleby's 1-2 pitch. Cracked foul on the ground towards the dugout of the Barons. It's still 1-2. The highly anticipated matchup between the Oaks and the Santa Barbara Foresters. What Jonathan Rifkin, my broadcast partner, calls the greatest rivalry in sports. We got that to look forward to, but Appleby gets out of this. A fastball thrown right by Lewis. His first strikeout of the game, and the Oaks escape this 5th innings. After 5 full innings, it's the Oaks 4 and the Barons 2. A run on 2 hits. No errors, and 2 runners left aboard in this frame. We go to break, but on the other side, the top of the 6th inning. You're watching Oaks Baseball on the Oaks Baseball Broadcasting Network.
the second baseman, number 1, Tanner Wright.
Tanner Wright, the new hitter here in the top of the 6th inning. Wright has been a hot hitter as of late. Today's 1 for 2 with a double and a run scored. Back on the mound is Gavin Stroud, the Tulane Green Wave. His first pitch in the dirt, 1-0. And that's one of my favorite mascots, the Tulane Green Waves, located right near New Orleans in Louisiana. From the belt, here's the 1-0 pitch, right in there. A strike, 1-1. Tulane quietly a Division I program. 1-1 pitch. Down and away, 2-1. Tanner Wright has continued his hot play as of late today. In the first game, he had a base hit as well. And he's going to drop one into right field, as he so often does. A base hit to right field to lead this one off. The Oaks trying to build on their 4-2 lead. And that's an ideal start. And everybody, turn your volume up, tune in and pay attention, because Brandon Lewis is hitting. Brandon Lewis has been on some type of tear this week. He's 2 for 3. The big first inning 2 RBI home run over the left field scoreboard on a hanging curveball from Nettles. He doubled and scored a run in the second inning as well. His last time up, he flew out to shallow right field. The first pitch to Lewis, a bouncer foul. It's 0-1. Brandon Lewis, about to enter his junior season, will be playing for the UC Irvine Anteaters. And in my opinion, and in the opinion of many scouts, he will be a very good draft prospect. The 0-1 pitch to Lewis. He gets under another one. Shallow right field. Coming in, Roosevelt Barnes makes the running catch for the first out of the frame. One away with one on for Jordan McFarland. McFarland, 2 for 3, 2 doubles. 1 to center field, 1 to left field, and also a 6-3 ground out.
37, Jordan McFarland.
Runner on first base, McFarland digs in, waves his bat, awaits the pitch from Stroud. A throw over to first base. Tanner Wright dives back in safely. Last night, after the 2-gamer at Biola University, the Oaks didn't get back home until around 10 p.m. Still fighting hard today, a testament to what Coach Solis can do. He works his magic, and McFarland fouls one back.
Yeah, they had to get back on a bus at 7 o'clock for an hour and 15-minute drive. Not as bad as the 2-hour and 30-minute drive yesterday, but this team forever grinding and forever playing hard, even with the tough road schedule.
Pitch to McFarland, taken for strike 2. Chase Cockrell, who has been quiet today with 2 strikeouts and a ground out, is on deck. You know, he's always lurking, trying to make some noise of his own. The pitch, a hanging off-speed pitch high. And Wright going to retreat back to first base. McFarland, from my early perspective, has multiple tools to work with. Obviously, we've talked about his speed and contact. Fouls that one back. But he's a talented defender, too. I don't know about his arm and home run power yet, but he certainly has the frame to develop that.
He hits home runs out there in batting practice, but likes to find no man's land out in the field during games.
From the belt, but first a throw over to first. Tanner Wright back in again. We're in the top of the 6th inning here. 4-2 Caneo. Oaks have 8 hits. The Barons have 5 hits. The pitch to McFarland. He lunges and lifts one out to shallow center field, dropping in for a hit. Jordan McFarland continues to hit and punish opposing CCL teams. He's now 3 for 4. Tanner Wright advances over to second base. 2 on for Chase Cockrell. A rare 0 for 3 for Chase. And just from the eye test for me, Cockrell has not been playing his most comfortable, his best baseball the last couple days.
By the way, McFarland on the day, going back to that first game of the doubleheader, it's now 6 for 9.
Wow. Check out the runner at second. Chase takes a pitch on the outside corner. He can't believe it again. It's 0-1. Looks like Jerry Ramirez going out to toss in the Oaks bullpen now. Elijah Alexander on deck. And even though Chase has struggled the last couple days, he's still producing. He swings through the next pitch. Tanner Wright going to make a heads-up play and take third. And now runners at the corners for Chase Cockrell.
The score should be a passed ball, by the way, from second to third for Tanner Wright because the ball was dropped by Owlette behind the dish. But nonetheless, the Oaks will take the runners at the corners.
0-2. Cockrell sits in his batting stance, resembling Aaron Judge in my opinion. Here's the pitch. Down and away, 1-2. And I think that's something we should start doing more, Jonathan. Likening Oaks batting stances to professionals that we see in the big leagues.
I like it, but I also think that we shouldn't do it too often just because these guys are trying to make a name for themselves.
That's true.
Chase Cockrell is Chase Cockrell, and he wants to be known as Chase Cockrell.
1-2, a fastball taken high. Count even now.
With that being said, you're absolutely spot on. Chase Cockrell emulates that of Aaron Judge, very well.
And just to point out one other guy that Cockrell looks like behind the, or at the dish, Albert Pujols for sure, courtesy of our own stats guy Jacob Black. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The pitch into Cockrell, off speed, fly ball out to shallow right field. Coming in Barnes, will he make the play? No, it's going to be the second baseman Martin who retrieves it for the second out of the inning. A pop out to 4 if you're keeping score, and Elijah Alexander digs on in for his 4th plate appearance, his 3rd at bat. He's 2 for 2 with a base on balls. A run scored in the 3rd inning also. Alexander was brought home courtesy of the Michael Tillman double in the 3rd inning. And the lefty is ready to get going. Runner goes to second base. The throw to get McFarland. No, here's the throw to the plate. Will he be out? Yes, he will. Tanner Wright upset with himself, but what a beautiful play by the Barons Field to end the inning. The Oaks get no runs on 2 hits, no error, 1 error, and 2 runners left on base. We're going to go to the next frame here on the Oaks Baseball Broadcasting Network.
number 27, Garrett Ouellette.
Garrett Ouellette is the new hitter here in the bottom of the 6th inning, 0 for 1 with a walk. Taps the plate, ready for the first pitch from David Appleby, who got out of a tough jam in the last inning. First pitch from Appleby, and it's a little bit low, 1-0. Appleby came in to relieve for Aiden Dolan, who went 4 2/3. Next pitch, a scorcher over to first base, but McFarland right there and catches the line out for the first out of the inning. Trevor Matson next in.
Now batting the third baseman.
Back to the last inning. Dolan struck out 2 players to start off the 5th frame and then gave up a single on a bunt. And Barnes advanced to third base on the throwing error from Lewis. And then Desmond Gates drove him in. Dolan walked a batter, and that was his last straw. But Appleby came in to save the day with a strikeout. First pitch, low, 1-0. Reiteration of your field for Conejo. Andrew Lucas in right, Elijah Alexander in center. Michael Tillman is playing left. Get you the infield in a moment. 1-0 pitch. Down again, 2-0. Infield for the Oaks. Brandon Lewis playing third base. Will Pickett is playing shortstop. Tanner Wright at second base. And Jordan McFarland is at first. Bryce Vitt still behind the dish. 2-0 pitch on the corner, 2-1. You got to give credit to Bryce Vitt. He came in to play catcher at the end of the morning game, relieving Zach Kamenko of his duties. And he's also catched this whole game. And that pitch is fouled off. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And we presume, Jonathan and I do, that Drew Sims is not available after the beating he took yesterday.
I think he deserves the day off.
Yeah, he certainly does. And it can't be good to play a game, especially in a doubleheader, the day after getting beat up. The 2-2 pitch bounced in the dirt on the slider. The count is full.
Yeah, Sims got beaned by a ball in the left elbow. Was a catalyst on a foul ball that was off the bat, back off his right arm. Also got shards of a broken bat in his eye.
Full count pitch from Appleby. Caught the corner, called strike 3. Appleby's second strikeout of the game. The 5th for Conejo. And 1 out away from going to the latter half of the ball game. Christian Lucio, the new hitter. 2 ground outs. One actually was a fielder's choice in the second. Also grounded out to first base in the 4th. Appleby from the chest. A long look in, and here's the pitch. In the dirt, 1-0. Lucio had a base hit in the first game. Also stole 2 bags. Came around to score in the 6th inning of the first game. He also struck out and grounded out. The lefty trying to get on to maybe start a 2-out rally for the Barons. The 1-0 pitch. Did he go? No, he did not. The count is 2-0. It looked pretty close, but no appeal. And now a late appeal. And the third base umpire confirms what we all thought. And it is indeed a ball. Palm trees out in the distance in right field. Swung on ground ball over to Lewis. He can't retrieve it on the short hop, and that's going to be an error on Brandon Lewis, the 2nd of the game for the Conejo Oaks, and the 6th total in this ball game. It has been a messy one.
And the 2nd on the day, going back to the last game, for Brandon Lewis. He has 6 errors on the season. That leads to the Oaks infield.
Now batting the left fielder, number 31.
So Cameron Dean steps in. 0 for 2, a strikeout, and a ground out for the powerful righty, the speedster. Appleby from the belt. A throw over to first base, not in time. And when you're thinking about the nicest ballparks in the CCL, MLB Urban Youth Academy has to come up as one of the best.
It's the nicest field.
Down low, and it's 2-0.
The aesthetics outside the park are phenomenal, but from a fan's perspective, San Luis Obispo and Sinsheimer Stadium far and away take the cake.
You don't sleep on Sparky Anderson Field either.
Oh, absolutely not.
No place like home. The throw over to first base, not in time. McFarland tried the behind-the-back tag. Wasn't successful.
Did you just make a Wizard of Oz reference?
I don't think so.
No place like home?
Throw over, not in time.
You're telling me that you don't even know where that reference that you just made originated?
No.
Someone needs to
You keep that
catch you up
keep
on
that
your
air in your mouth, Jonathan.
Someone needs to catch you up on your cinematic masterpiece
Runner
knowledge.
goes, ground ball over to shortstop. Pickett's can't go to second, but he takes his time. The relay over to first in time, and a good frame for David Appleby. No runs, no hits, an error, and a runner left aboard. 6 have come and gone. We're on to the 7th. You'll be treated to play-by-play from Jonathan Rifkin then. 4-2 in favor of the Conejo Oaks. We'll be right back on the Oaks Baseball Broadcasting Network. We're back in for the top of the 7th inning, and as I promised, here's my delightful broadcasting partner, Jonathan Rifkin.
There goes all of our viewers. No, I'm just kidding. Happy to be along with you here in the 7th inning of game number 2 of the day. The first pitch, Elijah Alexander saws him off, ball 1. Alexander has reached base all 3 times he's been up to plate. 2 singles and a walk. Also has a run scored back in the 3rd inning. The Oaks clinging to this 4-2 lead with Stroud back on the mound.
Oh, I thought I called it earlier in the game, Jonathan. I did. That was just about 10 feet foul from being a home run.
That was a shot. And the last time we saw Elijah Alexander hit one like that, foul. The next pitch, he went home run, yard. But that pitch eludes him downstairs, ball 2.
Elijah Alexander, I'm going to liken him to Yasiel Puig. Not in the stance, but in his excitement that he brings to the game. He runs, he hits for power, he does everything.
That pitch gets away from Ouellette the glove behind the plate. 3-1 the count.
And also,
I think I get more excited when I see Elijah Alexander out there more than I see Yasiel Puig.
Really?
Yeah, I think Puig, in my mind, complains just a little bit too much and is vocal when he doesn't need to be. Alexander slices that one in the left field. Dean under it, though, for out number 1. Elijah Alexander keeps his head down, and he just chugs hard every single at-bat.
Well, what I meant by that comparison is that he's just an electric, exciting player. I wasn't trying to comment on his
stature. No, of course.
He's a composed guy, and he's a consummate professional.
Absolutely. 1 out up on the board here in the top of the 7th, and Andrew Lucas other Camarillo Scorpion, or former, I should say. Head to see some in the fall digging in. He's 0 for 3, 2 strikeouts and a walk. Takes the first pitch outside for ball 1. We talked earlier in the game about Kenny Landreau, the phenomenal manager for this Barons squad. The Oaks have a phenomenal manager on their own side in the form of head coach David Solis. Lucas takes that one outside 2-0 in his 11th year with the team, 6th year as head coach. He's also doing double duty as pitching coach this year.
And doing a great job.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially with the pitching.
Yeah, this team, the biggest question coming into the season was the bullpen. Lucas takes a curveball there for strike 1, 2-1 the count to him. And so far, so good for this Oaks team. The bullpen has held their own and really been able to exceed expectations, I guess is the way to put it. 2-1 pitch, way up and in. 3-1 the count. But going back to head coach Solis, he's been with this team for 11 seasons. He has yet to win a championship. 3-1 pitch, upstairs, ball 4. Lucas walks for his second time. It's a runner on. First walk actually given up by Stroud, but fourth walk drawn by the Oaks on the game.
Now batting the catcher.
But you go back to
Bryce
head coach Solis, 19 years at Rio Mesa. Prior to that, 4 years as an assistant coach at Cal State LA. By the way, Bryce Vitt coming in. He's 0 for 2, 2 strikeouts and a walk. And you talk about some of the greatest in Major League, some great managers have never won a pennant. Gene Mauch comes to mind, the first pitch up and away from Bryce Vitt for ball 1. Gene Mauch couldn't buy a pennant in his 26-year career managing the Philadelphia Phillies from 1960 to 1968, the Montreal Expos from 69 to 75, the Twins from 76 to 80. Vitt skies that one, the right center field. Barnes and Gates converging, and Barnes out of right field makes the catch, retreating back to first base. Lucas out number 2 now on the board. And what's actually funny is when Gene Mauch was the manager of the Minnesota Twins, Kenny Landreau, the head coach and manager for the Barons, was actually on that team. That was the year in 1980 when he hit the 31 consecutive games. But Gene Mauch was also the manager of the Angels from 81 to 82 and 85 to 87. His 1964 Phillies blew a 7-game lead for the National League title with 12 games left in the season. It's the first pitch in there for strike 1 to Michael Tillman. And then his Angels were knocked out of the American League Championship Series in 1987. So you talk about 26 seasons without winning a pennant. That's the longest of a tenured manager in MLB history. Runner goes, pitches in the dirt, no throw, is safely striding over to second is Andrew Lucas. 2 outs, a runner on second now. But I'm not comparing Gene Mauch to head coach Solis. I think that for all intents and purposes.
Like what you're doing.
Well, I'm just talking about the situation. I would say that CCL baseball is a little bit different in Major League Baseball in terms of the pitch is fouled off from Tillman. In terms of, this is the developmental league. Yes, these guys are out there to win, but more so they're out there to learn how to play the game in a professional setting. 2-1, actually 1-2 the count, my mistake. But Solis hoping for that championship this season and avoid the further comparison to Gene Mauch, if you will. The 1-2 into Tillman. Skied to left field. Though Dean has plenty of room to get under it, he makes the catch, and the top of the 7th is over. No runs, no hits, no errors. Andrew Lucas stranded on second base. He got there by way of a walk and then a stolen base. And it's time for the 7th inning stretch. Get up, stretch your legs. It's been a long day, and we still have 2.5, potentially more innings to go here at the MLB Urban Youth Academy. You're watching Oaks Baseball on the Oaks Baseball Broadcasting Network. We'll be right back. Bruce Martin in the 8th spot leads things off here for the Academy Barons in the bottom of the 7th inning. I hope you enjoyed the stretch as much as we did. I hope you're enjoying the game. It's 4-2, no matter how you're watching or where you're watching. We appreciate you making Oaks baseball a part of your Sunday afternoon plans. 2 hours and 24 minutes into the second ball game. Jay Ramirez, the new pitcher from Glendale, deals the first pitch up and in to Bruce Martin for ball 1. David Appleby's day is done. 1 1/3, no hits, no runs, no walks, 2 strikeouts. In a productive inning and a third for him. Ramirez now taking the helm. That curveball's at the knees, evens the count 1-1. Martin on the day 0 for 1, a walk and a strikeout. And for Jerry on the season, this is his 11th appearance. Bunt is shown, pulled back, low for ball 2. 6.91 ERA in 14 1/3 innings pitched. 9 strikeouts, 4 walks, 11 earned runs, and 18 hits in those 14 1/3 pitched so far. Looking to stifle the Barons offense here. Fastball popped back against the screen. 2 balls and 2 strikes now to the Stetson baseball player. Ramirez offers the 2-2. Fastball, sky to center field. Very shallow, though. Alexander making way, and he makes the catch. It is so hard to have a ball drop when he's out there in center field because he runs routes so well, and he's so quick.
Now batting the right fielder.
1 away now in a 4-2 ball game. The Oaks won the earlier game, and I appreciate the correction by Jeffrey Francis. I was saying Gene Mausch earlier. It was actually Gene Mock, the longest tenured manager to never win a pennant. First pitch by Roosevelt Barnes, cracked back for strike 1. But just as Monica Alexander and Jeffrey Francis have done, feel free to chat with us in the YouTube live chat, friend or foe. Questions, comments, concerns, you need to correct us or have a stat you'd like us to hear on the air, feel free to share it. Fastball up and in, called strike though, no balls and 2 strikes to Roosevelt Barnes, who's 2 for 2 today. Home run and a single, 2 runs scored in that 9th spot. Mears offers the 0-2. Curveball belts him in the backside, and he's going to have to shake it off and go over to first base. That one has got to sting. First hit batter on the Oaks defensive side of things in this game. Saw a couple of hit batters earlier today in the first ball game. So a lot of speed over it there at first base by Roosevelt Barnes. And then I go back to the top of the order for Desmond Gates. 1 for 3, a single, pair of groundouts. He also has an RBI back in the 5th inning. Ramirez toes the rubber, offers the first pitch to the southpaw, shows bunt, gets it down. Ramirez fields it over to first. The sacrifice, though, works to perfection on the 1-3 putout over to second base. Barnes, 2 outs now, runner at second base.
And Jonathan, Roosevelt Barnes has been a very busy guy.
Number 25.
In today's game, a dynamic player, similar effect to this team as the Oaks have in their 9-hole. Because the Oaks can put Tanner right down there. Today it's Will Pickett. He's another threat at the plate, but Barnes at the bottom of the lineup is doing a great job.
Daniel Harris now stepping in the number 2 spot. He's reached base all 3 times he's been up. He's 2 for 2, a walk, a double, and a single. Had a stolen base in the first, from first to second, but trying to take third. He was thrown out by Bryce Vipp behind the dish. First pitch from Jerry is low for ball 1. Runner on second and 2 outs here. Ramirez trying to work his way out of here without giving up any more runs, clinging to a 4-2 lead. He offers. Cracked over to short. Into the glove of Pickett. Gathers himself and fires it to McFarland at first for the routine ground out to end the 7th inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 man left on base. We're through 7 full here from the MLB Urban Youth Academy in Compton, California. Oaks clinging to a 4-2 lead. Tillman, Pickett, and Wright. Actually, Pickett's right and Lewis, the 3-2 up in the inning for the Oaks when we come back. Back here in the top of the 8th inning, Will Pickett's in the 9-hole, leads things off for the Oaks. Stroud back on the mound. Barons trying to keep the arms at bay here, and Stroud only the second pitcher of the game for the Barons, going deep now into the 8th inning. Pickett's on the day in this game, 0 for 3. We did reach on an error, though, in the 3rd inning. Was stranded on first thereafter. Tanner Wright and Brandon Lewis, the next two due up. Shows bunt, gets it down. One hopper, then falls, outlet. Fielding it, falls to his butt. And that'll be an infield bunt for Will Pickett's, his second time in as many days reaching first base by way of an infield bunt.
Now batting the second baseman, number 1, Tanner Wright.
That'll bring up Tanner Wright now. The Oaks pick up their first hit in 2 innings. But right on the day, 2 for 4. A pair of singles, a strikeout looking, and a ground out. Shout out to everybody who's watched both games. Tanner Wright shows bunt, puts it down towards first base, though. Lewis spears it out of the air, nobody covering first, and Pickett's able to get back to the bag on the failed sack attempt. Though with right speed, it could have been possible an infield single. But for everybody who's really bared with us today through both these games, we really appreciate it, and this Oaks team really appreciates it. And now, Jordan, I have a trivia question for you.
I'm ready for it.
Who was the first ever commissioner of baseball?
23, Brandon Lewis.
Babe Ruth. Winston Churchill. I don't know. Who is it?
Well, Babe Ruth-like player Brandon Lewis steps in. He's 2 for 4. Short grounder, though, gets through the hole into left field. And that's a single. He's a triple short of the cycle for the second consecutive game. Lewis had a home run in the first game, a double in the first game, and a single in the first game. In the second game, Lewis has a home run, a single, and a double. Though I don't know if he'll necessarily come up any more in this game. We'll see, though. Still a lot of baseball left. The Oaks have strung together 2 hits in this inning with only 1 out, and Jordan McFarland stepping in. So I asked you, Jordan Brenner, who the first ever baseball commissioner was, and I'm going to open up to our viewers. Please don't, I mean, you can Google it. Who knows at this point? Accountability has gone out the door in the 21st century as McFarland, who's 3 for 4 today, steps in. Pops one back for strike 1. So if you've been bearing with us and want to get involved a little bit, let us know. Who was the first ever commissioner of baseball? After the end of this top of the 8th, I will give the answer. Let's see how much knowledge our Oaks fans have of the game of baseball. Checking the runner at second is Stroud. McFarland swings and misses on a great off-speeder. 0-2 the count. The Oaks have a day off tomorrow and will host the Foresters on Tuesday. The Arroyo Seco Saints on Wednesday. Tentatively, the Northridge Bulls are scheduled, though we're not sure if the game will be played on Thursday or Friday yet. McFarland pops one up into the infield. Backpedaling just towards that right field grass is Martin. He makes the catch for out number 2. Pickett still at second. Lewis still at first. After that game against the Northridge Bulls, which will be an interleague game, the Oaks beat them 20-1 last season, which was their largest win. The Oaks will either have a day off on Friday or a day off on Thursday, and they'll head to Fullerton College to play the Orange County Riptide in a home-and-home. Saturday at 4:30, and then Sunday back home at Sparky Anderson Field at noon, though before that, we'll have to finish out a suspended game, 8-8, going into the 10th inning that was called due to darkness early in the season. Nonetheless, though, Chase Cockrell digs in, swings and misses at a pitch for strike 1. He's 0 for 4 today, a very uncharacteristic 0 for game so far for Cockrell.
And Jonathan, this is a really big at-bat for Chase. The Oaks desperately, in my mind, need an insurance run to put this game away. It's a little bit too close for comfort right now.
I'm going to sweeten the deal here for our Oaks viewers in a moment as Cockrell takes a pitch outside to even the count 1-1. So as I've been mentioning throughout both of our games today, the Oaks have a raffle on July 24th, excuse me. Mike Trout autograph bat, Mike Trout autograph baseball, Albert Pujols autograph baseball, Mike Soja autograph baseball, and Caneo Oaks merchandise, as well as 2 $25 Visa gift cards. Each ticket is $5. The pitch comes inside, 2-1 to Cockrell. If you get our trivia question right by the end of the 8th inning, we're in the top of the 8th, by the end, the conclusion of both the top and the bottom of the 8th inning, I will personally buy a raffle ticket in our winner's name. you'll get a free raffle ticket. Don't Google this, please, because this incentive makes it just a little bit sweeter, and I feel like Google would take away that incentive. 2-1 pitch misses low and away, 3-1. So once again, the question is, who was the first ever commissioner of Major League Baseball? I'll give you the year. 1920 is the year that MLB first named their inaugural commissioner. Once again, I will pay for your raffle ticket if you get it correctly by the end of the 8th inning.
Wow, what an offer.
3-1 from Cockrell. He misses, but the ball gets away from Ouellette, and the runners advance on the pass ball. Full count now to Chase Cockrell. Picked at third, Lewis at second. 2 outs here in the inning.
Cockrell has been swinging and missing a ton today. I can't remember a time where I've seen that.
Currently 0 for 4, a strike away from 0 for 5. Payoff pitch. Curveball, swing and a miss, strike 3. Cockrell hits the hat trick for the first time in the season. He's struck out 3 times, and he's out 5 times in the ball game. And we're through the top of the 8th. No runs, 2 hits, no errors, and a pair left on base. Bottom of the 8th after this on the Oaks Baseball Broadcasting Network. The Oaks up 4-2. Once again, answer the trivia question for your chance to get a free raffle ticket to win a bunch of cool stuff. We'll be right back. Back here in the top, or actually the bottom of the 8th inning. Oaks Baseball on the Oaks Baseball Broadcasting Network. First baseman Hunter Lewis will lead things off here in the Barons half of the 8th inning. On the day out of the 3 spot, 0 for 3, 2 strikeouts and a fly out to center for the Indiana State Sycamore. First pitch in from Jerry Ramirez, a fastball called a strike on the lower half of the plate. Good first pitch there, 0-1 the count.
Sorry, Jonathan. Go ahead on the next pitch.
No. All yours. Oh, I guess this one is a strike. No. Wow. Curveball missing somewhere.
Well, first off, I don't know where that pitch missed, but here's what I was going to say. Coach Solis is trusting Jerry Ramirez in a very high leverage spot.
Pitch fouled back, 1-2.
And, you know, Jerry hasn't had the best start to the season, but here's a really good chance to prove himself as a reliable guy in the bullpen. Nobody works harder. Nobody has better stuff than Jerry. He's just been catching a little bit too much of the plate so far this year.
Popped up out of play. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Once again, the count, and you're right. Oaks had Angus Denton go for 1 batter in the early game to solidify his 3rd save of the season. They're hoping they don't have to use him if Jerry can try and retire this team here in the bottom of the 8th and perhaps even pitch the 9th if he continues the success he's having. 3rd Oaks arm here in this game. Lewis digs back in. 1-2 pitch. Misses low and inside. 2-2 the count. Once again, we're 3 outs away from the possibility of one of our viewers of getting a free raffle ticket to win some really cool Angel stuff. And, of course, Mike Trout, a highly touted baseball player, perhaps the best of our generation, as that one is fouled back. On pace, certainly, to have one of the best seasons in modern-day baseball. So you definitely want to get a piece of his action if you can. So once again, I'll reiterate. The trivia question that you have to answer, you don't have to, but if you'd like to answer by the end of the inning, who was the first ever commissioner of Major League Baseball? If you answer correctly, you'll have a chance to win a free raffle ticket. That pitch fouled off. Count remains 2-2. Please enter your guess in our chat on the YouTube page. Brad West, you are more than welcome to do just that, as Ramirez offers the 2-2. Fouled back. We'll do it again. I know we have a lot of knowledgeable baseball fans watching today's game. Love to engage you as much as possible, especially because of how long these games have gone. 3 hours was the first game, 2 hours and 59 minutes to be exact, in this game on its way to possibly exceeding it. 2 hours and 40 minutes in. This one's skied to center field. Check that, left center field. Pickett's very short on the outfield grass, makes the catch for out number 1. Lewis is now 0 for 4. Pop out to the 6th spot in the infield. Gives us the first out of the bottom of the 8th. And Garrett Ouellette, 0 for 2. Walk out, ground out, line out. Steps in here and will try to find a way to work his team back into this game. They're not out of it. It's 4-2, but neither team has been very loud here through the past 3 innings. Curveball misses outside for ball 1.
And I think Jerry Ramirez has to take a page out of Lance McCullers' book.
That one skied to right field. Very shallow, though, and first going back, but now coming forward and making the catch is Andrew Lucas for out number 2.
And here's my analysis of Jerry Ramirez. When you have that nasty a pitch with your curveball, why not throw it as often as you can? And I think Jerry does that to a certain extent. But a guy like Lance McCullers actually throws more curveballs than fastballs. I think Ramirez could be successful with that approach.
I have to make a comment here in just a moment as the first pitch was swung on and missed by Trevor Matson. Jacob Plack, who you see in our YouTube live chat, has an unfair advantage because he's sitting right next to us. And during the break in between innings, we talked about who the winner is. Oh, he claims he wasn't here, but
I believe him, Jonathan. I don't think he was here.
That pitch low and away, 1-1 the count. I still think that as an Oak staffer, you get an unfair advantage. He's shaking his head at me, but Brad West gives us an answer. Answer will be revealed here at the end of the inning. Already 2 outs, 2-1 the count. To Trevor Matson, he's 0 for 3 out of the 5th spot.
Some drama here on the Oaks YouTube page.
The new social media networking site. That one roped in left center field, down, good for extra bases. Rounding first, going to second, Matson. Ball is fielded by Tillman out on left. He gets it in, but nonetheless, a 2-out double for Trevor Matson keeps this inning alive, and the tying run comes in the plate in the form of Christian Lucio.
Go, Christian. Go, 5.
First hit given up
Now batting the designated
by
hitter,
Jerry Ramirez in this game.
Lucio.
Lucio 0 for 3. Reached on an error in a fielder's choice, but also grounded out in between those 2 at-bats.
And the tying run is at the plate.
With 2 outs, the Barons have been able to accumulate all of their runs. They had 2 outs in the 3rd inning and 2 outs in the 5th inning when they got both their runs. So why not continue the motif here? Slapped into left field. That one gets down backhanded by Pickett. He couldn't get it, but quickly coming in is Tillman. Now runners at the corners. Lucio making the small ball effort, and it pays dividends. Runners at the corners, 2 outs.
And I wonder if Coach Solis might go out to talk to Jerry Ramirez here. A very high leverage spot. And quickly action in the Oaks bullpen now. Is that Joe Torres again?
And Joe Torres is walking out there, but I think the Oaks already have a couple of arms tossing. Again, our point of view is cut off because there's a screen out there, so we can't tell who's throwing and who's not, but Joe Torres is striding out there. Cameron Dean, the new batter, 0 for 3. First pitch, curveball, doesn't have enough break. Runs upstairs for ball 1. 4 runs, 11 hits, 2 errors for the Oaks. 2 runs, 7 hits, 4 errors for the Barons.
Number 31, Cameron Dean.
1-0 pitch, bounces in the dirt. Vitt tried to pull up the ball and toss it on the stolen base by Lucio, though he forgot the ball when he came up. That puts a stolen base on the board here in the 8th inning for Lucio, his second of the game. He also had 2 in the earlier game.
And the Barons are fearless on the base path.
That pitch misses low and away. Ball 2 here to Cameron Dean.
Go 3-1, let's go, Baron.
Huge pitch, huge at-bat for the Oaks. Trying to preserve that win streak.
2-0 offering from Ramirez up and in. Actually, that was 3-0, so that's ball 4. Bases are now loaded after forcing Hunter Lewis to pop out and
Now batting
Garrett Ouellette to fly out.
Number 14, Bruce Martin.
Trevor Madsen
Go 1-4.
doubled, advanced a third on the single by Lucio. Lucio stole second, and Cameron Dean walked. First walk given up by Ramirez on the game. 4th walk by the Oaks, and looks like Ramirez's day will be over as Solis strides out to the mound and has a conversation with his pitcher. Still having a conversation. The Oaks have had a couple of arms warming up for the last inning, but no. Instead of pulling him, I think he makes the right decision. Already with 2 outs, you have to let Jerry try to get out of this jam.
This is a learning experience, and this moment right here is one that Jerry can take to his collegiate baseball experience, to his future experience in professional baseball, perhaps. It's time to dig deep. This is as high leverage a moment as you're going to see.
Bases all juiced. 2 outs. Tying runner at second. The Barons fighting to stay alive here in this game. Bruce Martin stepping in 0 for 2. And Ramirez takes a breath and offers the first pitch. Curveball, big swing and miss for strike 1, and that's how you start him out.
Such a lovely curveball, just dropping off a table. That a way to start off a very big at-bat.
Towing the rubber, Ramirez out ahead in the count. Deals a fastball upstairs. The Oaks side didn't like it, though I do believe that the umpire was fair in that ruling of a ball. Perhaps everybody's an umpire when it comes to fans at a baseball game. But only one matters, and that's the one behind home plate. Martin fouls that one back. 1 ball, 2 strikes now. 4-2 to the score. Bases all juiced up. 2 outs. Bottom of the 8th. After a dramatic game number 1 of the day. This game lacking no drama here in the latter half. Ramirez offers the 1-2. Swinging and a miss on a pitch in the dirt. But because the bases were loaded, there can't be a putout, and this inning is over. Ramirez gets out of the jam. No runs, 2 hits, no errors, and the bases left loaded. The answer to our trivia question on the other side of the break, the Oaks lead 4-2. We'll be right back. Elijah Alexander digs in here. Stroud back on the mound. The first pitch upstairs for ball one to Mr. Alexander. Oaks up 4-2. And the answer to the trivia question, Brad West, you are 100% correct. Judge Kennesaw Mountain Landis was named the first ever commissioner of Major League Baseball, as that one has popped up down the left field line. Out of third base, Matson makes a dig for it, but it goes foul. 1-1 the count. Judge Kennesaw Mountain Landis on November 12th, 1920, was named the first ever commissioner of Major League Baseball. And as you mentioned, Brad, on our YouTube live chat, he was indeed hired to rescue baseball's reputation, and put his foot down after the Black Sox scandal of 1919. Of course, Shula's Joe Jackson has consistently been appealed for to get his ban lifted, and nobody has listened to those appeals. Everybody's saying the ban is upheld as that pitch misses up and away. 2-1 the count. But more on Kennesaw Mountain Landis, perhaps one of the best names in the history of the sport. As the 2-1 offering in to Alexander, high and deep to left field, going back, and off the wall. Overrunning it, though, is Barnes. Alexander going to second, and he will stand up with a very loud double to kick off the inning for the Oaks here in the top of the ninth. By the way, now he's reached base 4 or 5 times.
Jonathan, I called a home run, but I was a foot short of it.
I would say less than that, maybe 10 inches off the top of the wall. But more on Mountain Landis says, Brad West, congratulations, you have won a free ticket. I'm going to give your son, Bart, the ticket number so that way you can keep track of it and your name will be entered into a raffle to win some pretty cool Angels gear as well as possibly some Caneo Oaks gear. That ticket courtesy of me. Stroud steps back up. Lucas digs in, shows bunt, pops it back, strike one. On top of Commissioner Landis being known for his suspensions and expulsions due to the Black Sox scandal, he was actually best known for, on top of that, finding a Standard Oil company $29 million in an antitrust lawsuit that was later overturned by a higher court. The owners charged Landis with the task of cleaning up the game's tarnished image in the wake of the scandalous 1919 World Series. As Brad West said, that pitch misses upstairs. But the commissioner was known as one of the hardest in baseball history, and that's why they implemented him back in 1920. By the way, Michael Spears will be hitting in place of Bryce Vitt. He's waiting on deck. 1 on, nobody out. Bunt shown, pulled back, ball 2 here to Lucas. Alexander still on second. The Oaks trying to push this lead in the top of the 9th inning to try and keep it out of reach for the Barons. The Barons had an opportunity with 2 outs. They got the bases loaded, but left them loaded. Lucas shows bunt once again, pulled back. Ball 3 now. 3 balls, 1 strike to Andrew Lucas. He's walked twice and struck out twice in this game. Elijah Alexander at second base has reached base 4 times, though he is 2 for 4, a walk, a single, a double, reached on error, and a flyout. Bunt shown, gets it down towards first base, but it goes foul. That one could have been a ball if Lucas held back, but instead he tried to apply the bunt, and now he has dug himself into a full count.
Let Andrew Lucas swing here, in my opinion. You're not going to want him to bunt a ball foul with 2 strikes, and we all know what type of pop he has.
Three balls, 2 strikes. The Oaks have an insurance run standing at second base in the form of Elijah Alexander or Yasiel Puig, if you like that reference. But ball 4 comes by way of a high fastball, and Andrew Lucas, for the 3rd straight time, walks. The Oaks have drawn 5 such walks in the game, 3 courtesy of Mr. Lucas, and they have runners on first and second with no outs.
For the Oaks, number 18, Michael Spears.
And Coach Solis going to Michael Spears off the bench, one of the players he trusts most in situations like these. And Spears has been a really hot hitter, capable of driving in the runner at second base and even the runner at first base because he has that spectacular gap power.
Coach Landrew just went out to talk to his Tulane Green Wave pitcher, Gavin Stroud. He will try to stifle the rest of this Oaks offense, though. Michael Spears coming in, and he won't make it easy. Bryce Vitzday is done. 0 for 3, a walk, 2 strikeouts, and a flyout. Spears shows bunt, gets it down, and rolls down the third base line, but foul for strike 1. On the season for the Ole Miss Rebel, 1 of 2 on the team. He led off in the earlier game and was productive. He's batting .200. He leads the team in stolen bases with 9. 15 runs, 8 walks, 14 strikeouts. He's also mustered 3 RBIs, though most of his opportunities have come in that number 1 leadoff spot, so he hasn't had a lot of RBI opportunities. Shows bunt, gets it down. Beautiful roller fielded by Ouellette, fired over to first, but the sacrifice works to perfection. The Oaks advance their runners to second and third. Lucas at second. Alexander at third, only 1 out. And now the insurance run is 90 feet away on the 2-3 putout. And the Oaks have Michael Tillman stepping in.
Now batting left fielder.
Perfectly executed bunt from Michael Spears. Coming in off the bench, has not seen a pitch all game long. And gets one down in the biggest moment.
Tillman has shown clutch time and time again. He does have an RBI double to his day. 1 for 4. And pops that first pitch back, foul for strike 1. Big spot here for the Oaks. They're trying to preserve their win streak. Make it 8 in a row in the CCL and 10 in a row. Otherwise, they haven't lost since June 27th. 0-1 offering, up and in, ball 1. Michael Tillman, very much deservedly, got a great offer and made his commitment to Cal State LA to play with the Golden Eagles in the fall. Led Pierce Junior College in batting average this past season, and this is his second season in the CCL. He was on the Ventura Halos, a team that was absolved before this season, along with Oaks pitcher Dylan Francis. Takes a fastball over the heart of the plate. 1 ball, 2 strikes now. Four runs, 12 hits, 2 errors for the Oaks. 2 runs, 7 hits, 4 errors for the Barons. Here comes the 1-2, cracked over to third. The throw home to Alexander's in time. And that was a smart play right there. A 5-2 putout from Matson to Ouellette. Saved the runner, and the fielder's choice allows Tillman over to first. Lucas over to third. And now 2 outs now for Will Picketts.
That's a really tough ball to read if you're Elijah Alexander. The instinct is you want to run home and get the insurance run across, but no need to be that aggressive.
Picketts, 1 for 4 today. Had a bunt single, reached on an error, flew out and grounded out. Earlier, he didn't play, but yesterday he had his first multi-hit ball game of the season. Takes a strike, or actually a ball up and in, fastball. Ball 1. Tillman at first, Lucas at third, top of the 9th inning. In a ball game that both these teams undoubtedly want to win. It's been a very long game, a very long day. The Oaks arrived here at MLB Urban Youth Academy at 8:30. It's now 6 o'clock. You're talking about almost 10 hours this team has been here. Upstairs, breaking pitch misses, 2-0. And this day is definitely longer than the doubleheader up in Healdsburg because at least those games were under 2 hours. 1 hour and 59 minutes to 1 hour and 52 minutes for both those games. But a 2 hour and 59 minute game earlier, and in 3 minutes, we'll have hit the 3rd hour of this game, with still half an inning to go, at least. Right now, Stroud trying to work out of this inning. Picketts lines one to left field, and that one drops for an RBI single. The Oaks push across 1 more run with 2 outs. Will Picketts with a 2nd consecutive multi-hit ball game. And out of the 9th spot, he's done a great job giving the Oaks an insurance run. It's 5-2 now.
What a big knock from Will Picketts. The bullpen has gone a little bit deeper than Coach Solis would have wanted to, so that insurance run is so enormous.
13 hits for the Oaks in the ball game. Coach Leandro relieves Stroud of his duties. We're going to get a new pitcher. We'll give you Stroud's line. The rest of this top of the 9th and the bottom of the 9th after this on the Oaks Baseball Broadcasting Network. 2 on, 2 away, 1 around. Oaks up 5-2. The CLU Kingsmen, Tanner Wright leads things off against a new pitcher here. It's Ryan Zapata from San Jacinto Junior College, undecided where he will attend university in the fall. The first pitch to Wright, slapped over to first. Lewis will take it himself, and the top of the 9th inning is over. By the way, Stroud went 4 2/3, 5 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, and a strikeout. Tyler Ryan is now 1 for 5 on the day. And we're going to go to the bottom of the 9th inning. The Oaks up 5-2, 1 run, 2 hits, no errors, and a pair left on base. For the second time today, but the first time in this game, The Arkansas Razorback and Oaks superstar closer Angus Denton comes in here to try and close out the game. He would get 2 saves in one day as the first pitch is a strike to Roosevelt Barnes. Out of the 3 spot, though, Roosevelt Barnes is 2 for 2, a home run, a single, 2 run. He was hit by a pitch back in the 7th inning. Jared Ramirez's day is done 2 innings, 2 hits, no runs, 1 walk, and a strikeout. That pitch misses low and away.
Couple things to say here, Jonathan. Really great job for Jerry Ramirez today. He stepped up. And also Angus Denton being in the game now tells you just how big a moment this is for the Oaks.
One hopper over to third by Roosevelt Barnes is fielded by Lewis over to first. Out number 1 now up on the board. The Oaks 2 outs away from extending their CCL win streak to 8 games, their total win streak to 10 games, and concluding what has so far been a 9.5-hour day at the MLB Urban Youth Academy, now in our 6th hour. And about 4 minutes of play between the 2 games.
Now batting the center fielder, number 4.
Championship teams, Jonathan, have to be gritty. They have to show up when the times are hard and still produce. That's what the Oaks are showing me right now.
First pitch upstairs for ball 1 to Desmond Gates. 1 for 4 today, a single and RBI. A couple of ground outs. By the way, Angus Denton is 3 for 3 in saves. He leads the team with a 1.32 ERA. That pitch upstairs, ball 2 to Gates. 13 strikeouts, 3 walks, only 2 runs under his reign, which has been 13 2/3 innings so far this season. Trying to get his 4th save. Fastball misses in the dirt, and he's behind 3 balls, no strikes. There was an opportunity back in the 8th inning for the Barons to tie or take the lead in this game, down 4-2, and they left the bases loaded after 2 outs. That was perhaps their best opportunity, at least thus far in the game. Ball 4, though, on 4 straight pitches comes on a pitch outside, and Desmond Gates follows up a ground out with a walk, and now the tying run comes into the plate in the form of Daniel Harris.
Well, Jonathan, it's not the tying run, and that's just
Oh,
why.
you're absolutely right. The Oaks are 5-2.
Right, that Will Pickett's base hit. Look how big it looks right now. Now, the tying runner is not at the plate, but rather in the on-deck circle.
Correct. So thank you for not only correcting me, but giving some phenomenal context as to what this at-bat means in terms of the ball game. Harris chops one over to third. Lewis will make the easy out to first base. That one too slow, and Desmond Gates too quickly to try to turn 2. Now 2 outs. Runner advances to second.
One more, John.
And Hunter Lewis stepping in. I think that's the model right now. One more.
Number 20, Hunter.
And you might see one of the Oaks' biggest celebrations of the year. They've had some big ones, but look how eager these guys are to get out of the dugout.
They're all ready for some dinner. No, most of them haven't eaten since they joined the bus at 7 o'clock West Coast time 11 hours ago. First pitch to Hunter Lewis, cracked over to third. One Lewis to another Lewis over to first, and this ball game has finally concluded. We started at 3:02. We concluded at 6:10. That's 3 hours and 8 minutes of play. A total of 6 hours and 7 minutes of baseball today, and the Oaks take both the games. The final line for you here, 5 runs, 13 hits, 2 errors for the Oaks. For the Barons, 2 runs, 7 hits, and 4 errors. The Oaks now go to 16-10 on the season. They're 11-8 in CCL played, tied for third place in the playoff standings with the Healdsburg Prune Packers. The Barons dropped to 8-19 on the season. They're 8-17 in CCL play. Jordan, we're going to do this really, really quick because I think everybody has places to go, and we seriously appreciate all of our viewers for sticking with us throughout the game, no matter how long or how short you've tuned in. We appreciate you making us a part of your Sunday. How did the Oaks pull through such a long day, show the resilience, and tack on another win, now 8 in a row in the CCL?
How did they do it? That's just how they're wired, and that's how Coach Solis coaches them. He really puts them in the right frame of mind. Not many teams could go into a weekend and play 5 games and win all 5. That's what the Oaks just did. Seriously, seriously impressive stuff. And tomorrow's off day is well-deserved. Brandon Lewis doing it all day long. A triple short of the cycle in both games today. If we had a post-game show, it would go to him. We're in a little bit of a rush to get out of here. But what a game it was.
Winner for the Oaks goes to Aiden Dolan. Actually, no, it's David Apple because Dolan did not reach the 5-inning mark Appleby went an inning and a third, so he picks up his third win of the season. He's 3-2. Nettles, nonetheless, though, gets the loss. The save goes to Angus Denton. He's 4 for 4 on the season. Now his ERA is going to drop below 1.3 in a stellar performance. Offensive stats for you. Brandon Lewis reached base 3 times. He was triple shy of the cycle twice today. He ended up going 6 for 10 in both the games combined. Jordan McFarland went 3 for 5. Ended up going 6 for 10 as well on the day. Chase Cockrell had an uncharacteristic 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts. Elijah Alexander reached base 4 times, once by an error, 2 singles and a walk. And at the bottom of the order, Will Picketts was 2 for 5, reached on an error and had 2 singles as well as an RBI. Well, we're going to leave it there. It's been a long day. It's been a fun day. We hope you enjoyed it. We certainly did. For everybody who made our broadcast possible, big thank you to the Academy Barons for accommodating us here. This is the final game that the Oaks will play, but some of these Oaks will be back for the MLB Prospect game in a week and a half. But again, for everybody who made our broadcast possible, our great statistician Jacob Plack, my broadcasting partner Jordan Brenner, my name is Jonathan Rifkin signing off, and a big thank you to all of our viewers for bearing with us. We'll be back on Tuesday, 4:30 start time. We'll be live at 4:15 when the Oaks play a much-anticipated matchup with the Foresters, the 2 hottest teams in the CCL and bitter rivals, duking it out for the second time on the baseball diamond on Tuesday. But until then, we're going to sign off. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Enjoy the day off tomorrow, and we'll be back with you with Sparky Anderson on Tuesday. Once again, the final line, the Oaks win 5-2 against the Academy Barons. We'll see you on Tuesday. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.